welcome. Hello everybody, we are live. Welcome to Streams of Collective Consciousness. I am the host, Ellie, and I go live Tuesdays and Thursdays from like 4 p.m. Central Time to 7 p.m. Central Time. And today we're going to be talking about sustainable fashion, and we're going to be talking about environmentalism and social justice. We're going to be especially taking a look at the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign that's been circulating around everywhere, unfortunately. I think it's inherently fascist, and I'll get into why I think that is why it is, especially when she's saying, look at my blue eyes and blonde hair, and I'm like, okay, we all know that. But yeah, we're going to get into that, and then we're going to be getting into some other news, such as how there is some AI models in the brand Guess, and how it was in the Vogue magazine. So we're going to cover that and explore how that even happened. But I'm not surprised, given how little truth is given in magazines. There's been a history of like retouching and just like manipulation of softwares, like Photoshop and stuff. So inherently not surprised, but we'll get into that. And then other things that are circulating as well, such as how Klarna is now on Poshmark, which is not exciting. I think it just leads us more into debt. But Temu is getting sued basically from Brandy Melville as well. And then there was this video that I recently saw about how a consumer actually went behind the scenes with a Pakistani clothing brand, which I'm excited to explore and watch with y'all. So mostly we'll cover sustainable fashion stuff today. I don't have the capacity to talk about everything, but let me remove the OBS out of the way. But basically, I always use this Canva deck. Let me go to the start. And this Canva deck is available for you, so if you have a bad time struggling and like listening to news, this will be in my description. It's a free resource, it's public, it's free, it has all the news of the week that I have found, and it mostly covers sustainable fashion. And this is like the ideal schedule that I follow. It's like getting into sustainable fashion first, and then getting a little break, and then talking about environmentalism later on. So that's kind of the goal, but today we're not going to be talking a lot about social issues. I think the Sydney Sweeney one is going to take up a lot of time. I think I'm actually going to do a podcast episode about it because there's just so much to get into. So I'll kind of briefly touch on some TikToks and videos that I've seen on social media that are basically mocking Sydney, even though that's not really the point that should be made. The point is like, the campaign talks about how white people are the better, superior race, which is incorrect, but we'll just analyze that and come to a conclusion at the end of it, even though it's obviously racism. And then I do want to watch some fashion shows. I keep saying I want to watch fashion shows, but then I always forget. So yeah, every Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 7 p.m., I go live, and it's just a time to like learn about the news and stuff. If you ever want me to talk about something, this forum is in my description, so you can submit stuff. The chat is somewhere you can put links on, but most likely I'm not going to look at that. So if you want to send me something to look at, this is this. So you can send me things to cover, but I don't really talk about brands. I don't promote brands. I kind of like it that way because I'm not tied to any sponsors, any deals, basically, any third-party interests. Like, all my opinions are literally my own. Like, they're a genuine space for me to vocalize what I find wrong in the industry, and if I'm like heavily sponsored, then my opinion gets swayed, or I start to get more like quote-unquote professional, and I don't want that. Like, I like live streaming because it's such a fun space for me, and like I can just say whatever, and if you want to listen, you get to listen. If you don't want to listen, you just click out, and I don't have to convince you to care. So I love how people like jump in and out all day, every time that I live stream. So yeah, feel free to submit what you want, but I will honestly like look at it and think about whether I want to like submit it or not into Tuesdays or Thursdays upcoming live stream. So I'll look at it though. I'll look at it for sure. But I always like to do like a little personal update, um, just to get us started. So it is a very humid Illinois day. I don't know why I said it that way. Um, yeah, very humid outside. It's the last days of Illinois summer, so I'm kind of looking forward to it to close off. I hate summers. I struggle with summers so much. It always gets me in a bad mood. My hair is horrible. It's just too much stimulation for me, so I just kind of like stay home. I stay away from like people. Basically, everything is just too much for me during the summers. It's overstimulating. I can't deal with everything. It's like too much pressure to have fun or too much pressure to do something, and I just don't really like doing stuff all the time. Like, if there's something really important, I'll go to it. If I really care about something, I'll go to it. But like, you rarely see me get out of my house just to have like quote unquote fun. Like, I think it's tedious to like go do something when there's no clear purpose, or like if there's only going to be small talk or like random partying and drinking. Like, that's just not who I am. Like, I'm a homebody. I like to have, I guess, more meaningful conversations and having like a purpose or a goal. I think that's one of the reasons why I actually became an activist in the past, is because there was like a clear purpose in the conversations. There was something that we were working towards, and people, I guess, were a little bit more serious because they were like either upset or angry with what was going on in the world, and like they went beyond small talk, and like they were like talking about the things and politics and the world, and how the climate the climate crisis is affecting everything. It's not funny. It's just like I was remembering all the conversations I would have with people, and they were pissed, and I was like, "Dang, yeah, I'm pissed too." But they were like really pissed, and it was just different. It was a different sort of conversation and interaction compared to like, I guess, normies who just go about in their 9 to 5 and like don't really say much besides, "Oh, how are you? Good, nice, awesome." Um, I feel like I've been cosplaying as a normie this year because I haven't really been in activist spaces for the last year, and it's incredibly boring, the people that I've encountered. But I don't have the capacity to be an activist right now. I'll go back to it for sure in the future. But currently working on my job applications, my job interviews. I actually secured a job today, which is crazy. I had applied like last Wednesday to be a receptionist for a gym, and then they got back to me by like Friday, and then I had the interview today. So it's a very short turnaround. I was not expecting to like actually get the job today, because usually they make you go through like 2, 3 interviews, especially when it's part of a more district wide initiative. And they were like so willing to like hire me on the spot, which is great. I had a feeling it was gonna work out. Like, something just told me it was gonna work out for whatever reason. I don't know why. And then I kept seeing a dragonfly when I was like driving to the interview, because I stopped at a gas station to get 2 cups of coffee, and I saw a dragonfly circulate my car, and I was like, "Oh, this is so interesting." And then later on, I looked up that dragonflies like symbolize change and transformation. And I had never seen dragonflies ever in my home city, so I just found that even more kind of like, oh, what is this? Like, this is weird. And then when I went to the site, I also saw another dragonfly, and I was like, was it following me from a gas station, because I was super close by? And then I saw it. I saw another dragonfly when I was getting out of Walmart, because I went to go buy soap to wash my Goodwill bin finds to upload them on Depop. Um, and I saw them again. I was like, oh my god, there's like dragonflies everywhere. So very interesting day, but I did get secure the job. It'll be like 20 hours um, during the week, plus a vintage shop job that I have that's 10 hours. So in total, I'll be working currently 30 hours. But I still want like maybe 2 more jobs, just because I'm really broke, and it's been really worrying me to the point of like severe exhaustion. Like, my brain has felt so foggy because of the stress that I've had from not being able to financially support myself. And I've never felt this stress before. So like, all I've been thinking about for the past like couple months is like I need a job, I need a job, I need a job, and I need a job while doing content creation. And like the goal is to like make hopefully content creation my job, like make live streaming part of my job, have Depop be part of my job, you know, make YouTube be part of my job, all those elements together, right? Like mostly to have my world be to rehome clothing and to bring awareness to sustainable fashion. But like that's not possible unless I have my own funds fueling the dream. And it's just not realistic to like do content creation as a volunteer. Like I can't just put 40, 50 hours into YouTube or into Depop or into live streaming when there's like no resources to back my efforts up, you know? So I have to like set the base to like build. So yeah, I think this will be great. I think working 40, 50 hours and like I guess normal jobs will be really needed to like boost my health and my well-being and to reduce like anxiety and like the stress and the fog that I've been feeling. Um, and then that way my like content will slowly progress because I haven't really been doing a lot of content, even though I have been free like technically for like hours during the week. Like if I'd only been working at the vintage shop for like 10 hours, all that other time was just for YouTube. It was just for live streaming. It was for like TikTok or for like Depop, and I still hadn't been productive because I was so like stressed about finding a real job that like made money or like a job that made money, because I think content creation and live streaming can be a quote unquote real job. It's just I've just started. So that's what's been happening in my life. So I think I'll actually be more productive once I get like 3 4 jobs that like allow me to make at least like maybe $3,000 $4,000 a month. No, 4,000 is too much. I would say like maybe 2,500 would be enough to make me like okay, like I'm like saving up, like I have a path. Um, that can sound very little to some people, but for me it's a lot. Um, so I'm not afraid of like working hard. I think I've been losing brain cells not working and making money. So I think this is a real shift. I think my concentration is gonna get stronger. So I'm excited to like keep working on my YouTube videos. I have so many video ideas that I'm gonna be coming out with, and then there's a lot of like podcast themes that I want to discuss as well. So I'll be filming those in the evenings when I'm free. But yeah, that's what's going on in my life. I feel so much more like relaxed, so much more chill, like excited for the future. Now that I have like a more stable source of income working 30 hours a week, even though it's at minimum wage, like it's still a lot for me. And honestly, like I was living in a very expensive town in Montana, and I literally only worked on average like 24 hours a week at a thrift store that only paid from like $15 to $18. I started off at 15, and then it went up to 18 hours, $18 an hour. Sorry, it went up to from $15 an hour to $18 an hour after working there for 3 years. But like I just couldn't do it after 3 years, and it was so expensive there. So I just like moved back home to Illinois. Um, but yeah, I've never really worked a lot, so I've never really made a lot of money. So this is like a huge change that I'm really excited for. So with like the news and stuff, like this is just what keeps me going and like what I find really interesting about the industry. Like there's so many issues that we can constantly explore, and I don't know, like I love knowing what's going on. Like there's so much nuance to the fashion industry, and like I'm a huge component a component I'm a huge component. I'm a huge advocate for like dissecting like fashion industry is like colonial and capitalistic past. And I think the Sydney Sweeney case is like a perfect example of like how fashion is rooted in colonial thinking and capitalistic interests. So we're gonna get into it. I'm running out of breath. I'm literally running out of breath. But let's take a look at Sydney Sweeney's campaign first before we read any articles, because we just have to watch it to like understand what's going on, because it is a shit show, honestly. And when I first saw this on TikTok, I was just blown away. I didn't know how to process it at first, and now it's like I'm pissed.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
You see what I did there, right?
Okay, so that was one video that was just basically selling the jeans, right? It's not the problematic one, but if you look at the fit of the pants right there, it doesn't even fit her. So it's an indication of fast fashion jeans and just ill fitting patterns. Like, this is the result of bad patterns and bad fitting and not understanding the human body. Like, after a certain point, like, American Eagle should understand how to make like very good quality, well-fitting clothing, and that doesn't really look like a sexy pants. That just looks like a fast fashion pant. Like, if we're gonna be talking about jeans, like, let's look at the jeans. They're very ugly and they're not fitting her very well. And this is very loose as well. Like, there's just lines on lines on lines. So I don't know how good quality we can perceive these when, like, it doesn't even fit her. I don't think it's a good conclusion to be like, oh, these are good quality. See? Look at this. Right here. It doesn't even fit her. That's just crazy. It doesn't even fit her. I feel like the jacket really suits her. But then the pants are almost like an afterthought. When the whole point is to sell you the jeans. So yeah, let's just remember that, and then we'll watch the other commercial that's been causing a lot of controversy. I think it's this one. It may not be. There's multiple versions of this stuff.
I bet you want to try these jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
Okay, no, it's not that one. Where is it?
This is how.
Did they take it down? Where's the full version? There's another full version that's been causing a lot of controversy. It's interesting it's not on their main page for sure. Very interesting. Here, let's watch Access Hollywood's take on it.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Doja Cat is weighing in on Sydney Sweeney's controversial American Eagle Great Jeans campaign. The Euphoria star's ads went viral on social media over the past week, drawing both support and criticism. The fall campaign plays on Sweeney's great jeans before replacing the word jeans to jeans. In one zips up her pants, that genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color.
Okay, it's just summarizing it. Let's actually try to find the original version. Why? It's pissing me off. I can't find it. Where is it? Oh my god, I'm gonna literally, like, lose my mind.
And finally, American Eagle's new denim campaign with Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney is causing quite the stir. What was meant to be a cheeky play on great jeans has taken a dark turn, with critics accusing the brand of slipping into Nazi propaganda territory. What started as a pun may now be morphing into the language of eugenics. So is it just bad branding, or is American Eagle flirting with fascist fashion? Here's what went down.
American Eagle's fall denim campaign starring actor Sydney Sweeney has quickly gone from playful to politically charged as critics accuse the brand of leaning into racially insensitive messaging. At the center of the controversy is the tagline, "Sydney Sweeney has great jeans," a cheeky pun on great jeans. In one promotion,
Determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens. Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color.
Can we just pause? How is she talking about genes in the way of like, oh, okay, like this is what's passed down from like one child to the other? Like we all know that, and she's like alluding it to a metaphor to like genes and like the legit genes of what we wear, like the clothing. And then she's at the same time talking about like genes, like genes, like what's in our body. So it's like two different things being parallel together. But one, it's like why? And then two, like what are you even talking about? And then three, it's like what is this voice? A lot of people have been bullying her because of how she sounds.
My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Parents to offspring, often.
She was even like compared to she was even compared to like doing a bad presentation in school where they just like say random stuff and they don't really know what they're saying. That's what she was being compared to, as like someone that doesn't know what she's doing. But I do think she knows what she's doing. It's like you read the script, like you signed the contract. It's just caused a lot of outrage because of the gene aspect that she was comparing.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle
clothing
jeans.
with.
And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Okay, we
Has
watched
very
that
keens.
one. We watched that
I'm
one.
Sydney Sweeney, and I'm from Spokane, Washington. I can work as a local hire as well, though, and I am available for the American Eagle jeans campaign shoot.
Profile and hands, please. Thanks. We'll be in touch.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Next.
Oh my gosh. So she's literally pretending to be someone like being cast in this when she's already been chosen. I don't know what they were trying to do, but it bothers me so much because there's so many problems behind it. Here, let me show you some TikToks that I found that alludes to this a bit more. My tabs are all over the place today. Let's see. I've been sending myself some TikToks actually that like vocalize some concerns. Okay, so this person is like literally bullying her for how she sounds, which I don't agree with, but a lot of people have been doing this on TikTok.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality.
This one is alluding to how she is basically going to be like teaching ICE officers in 2027 about routine training videos, basically because of the idea like, oh, traits are being passed down that are supposedly better and therefore that's what we should honor. Other people have caught her on Baskin Robbins. Like she's literally everywhere. Like I don't really think that she thought much of it, even though it's extremely harmful and is like passing rhetorics of like racism. Let's see. One that can break it down is, I've been collecting so many videos on this and I definitely need to cover it in a podcast episode because there's just like so much to like talk about and I want to break it down very like concisely and easily, but it's like almost impossible not to get into it because it's so nuanced, but this one really explains it.
Sydney Sweeney jeans campaign have to do with not just race, but soap and the current political climate. I'm Sayantani, an author of middle grade and YA books, which I mostly talk about on this app, but I am also a professor of something called narrative medicine. So I teach a lot about race, health, and narrative. And that is exactly why this ad is in my particular wheelhouse and why I will be putting it on my syllabus in the fall. So now, as many wonderful creators on this app have pointed out, this Sydney Sweeney ad is really imbued with eugenic messaging. Now, what is eugenics? If you don't know, I would highly recommend watching the Eugenics Crusade from PBS, which I have on my syllabi almost every year. But in short, it is the both pseudoscientific and immoral notion that we can improve the human race. We can help natural selection along by certain pseudoscientific practices, one of which is positive eugenics, so the encouraging of reproduction among people who possess certain positive or desirable characteristics.
And that's essentially what the Sydney Sweeney ad was doing. They were like pushing this narrative of like, look at me, I have blue eyes and white hair, blonde hair, and I'm passing it down. And it was almost like a subliminal thing of like, oh, you should be passing these traits down as well. And I think it just highlights her like features even more and just emphasizes like, this is what beauty is. This is what you should be looking like when you go back to school. It's just a weird narrative overall. Like, we all come from different backgrounds, different beauty standards, and yet we still want to push like this thin white cis narrative of beauty. It's just, we're in 2025 and this continues to happen, and a lot of people are like, it's a symptom of the political moment where Trump is like criminalizing immigrants, where Americans supposedly are the only ones that are legalized or legitimate, but like American in Trump's eyes are white presenting. So at this point, it's just, this is just another symptom of what's going on with like pushing out those that don't fit into the mold.
And negative eugenics, which is the discouraging of reproduction or even the killing off of people with certain negative traits. Now, the question, of course, the moral question, of course, becomes who gets to decide whose traits are positive and whose traits are negative? Now, while we often talk about eugenics in the scope of race, I think it's really important to remember that eugenics is as much kind of a racialized, or it leans into as much racialized ideas of superiority as it does into ideas of ableism or kind of cis heteronormativity. Mental health, what was deemed criminal, is all also on this pile of undesirable traits.
And I think one of the comments does illuminate a good point, where if we analyze the good genes versus the quote-unquote internal genes, like, it's basically implying that there's something bad with others. And a lot of people that are on the far right would be like, oh, this isn't a legitimate theory. Like, she was just talking about her eyes. She was just talking about her hair. Like, this isn't cruel or mean. But the implied assertiveness that there is a trait that is associated with the clothing basically is saying you should look like this, and therefore everything else doesn't really belong. It's not catered to our brand. It's not what we desire, and is basically not desirable for men. Because if you saw the campaign, she was very sexualized. Like, she was appealing to the male gaze, and if you don't meet this criteria, like, are you meeting the male gaze? Probably not. I certainly don't cater for the male gaze. I know other women can, or feel comfortable or sexy doing it, or are just indoctrinated in the current systems of beauty, which is fine. Like, everyone's on their own journey. But like, to actively have a woman push out sexualized images and like work, it's just weird. Like, why can't women just support women and like be themselves? Like, we shouldn't be catering to the male gaze anymore. And it's really worth exploring, because she's gonna get into it, but like the history of like how white people think they're superior and like the beauty standard and worth, I guess, like reproduction, it's very insidious, and it's tied back to like colonial thinking.
So if you want to know more about how positive eugenics happens, you need look no further than fitter families contests in this country in the 20s and 30s and even 40s, I think, where people were encouraged to bring their very white, able-bodied families. And at the same time, at a fair that you could, let's say, show off your giant pumpkin or your prize-winning pig, you could show off and get an award for your fit family. And in terms of negative eugenics,
Oh, what happened? Sorry, let's see.
what does this American Eagle show off and get an award for desirable peoples? Come up with those ideas. They were inspired by American and British eugenicists. But in addition to kind of the killing off of undesirable peoples, we have seen throughout history and continuing to the present day, the forced sterilization, kind of the decrease of reproduction among undesirable communities.
I keep pausing it, but this reminds me of what's going on with Latinos in the detainment centers that are happening after they're arrested. They're put in these detainment centers, right? And then there has been women that have come out and said, oh, they like took me into a little section of the detainment center and they injected me with stuff, and it turns out they can't reproduce kids anymore. Like, they're illegally put under medical procedures that they did not consent to, and it's crazy. It's really nasty that our current system has literally authorized the illegal sterilization of Latina women. Here, let me look it up. Immigrant women sterilization. I'm kind of feeling out of it, so I'm sorry if this is a weird stream. If you're watching me for the first time, I'm usually a bit more like on. Like, my brain is not on right now. I feel very overwhelmed. From not only this, but from personal life, and like, this is just a lot to deal with. Like, it's emotionally draining to like constantly be looking at all these horrific things, and I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. I usually just like deal with it better, but not today. Forced sterilization, not illegal, undocumented women. I don't know why it's not coming up. ICE agents are sterilizing women against their wills. That was 4 years ago. I do want to see something more recent. I did see something more recent. Okay, let's watch this one, even though it's from 4 years ago, because it's still happening.
Entonces, ¿no tuviste nadie que te explicó el proceso en español?
No, nunca.
Okay.
De que la forma que se le quitaba eso era con cirugía.
Oh.
Yo le pregunté si había otro tratamiento.
I think that we are just beginning to scratch the surface of how widespread and prevalent this practice is.
Yeah, they don't have any idea that this is happening to them, and then they're taken to the doctor and nothing is explained to them. There's no process where they're informed, and it's just done illegally for them. And to think that they're taking away their right to have children basically says that they're not worthy of carrying on basically their race, their genes, their way of life. And I don't think in any circumstances we should be making decisions on someone else's behalf unless it's illegally permitted, but often enough, like, that doesn't really lead to, like, good things. Like, I've seen the cases of conservatorships with celebrities where, like, their parents have legal rights over the adult's decision, which can often be done to protect them or if they have a mental illness or something. But it can weaponize control. It can weaponize authority. So, in whatever case it is, like, we always have to be very careful how we're making decisions for others. And I think this is a very paternal American idea of, like, we're in charge, we get to decide who belongs, who doesn't have to have kids, who should belong in our country. And it's concerning, like, why some people have the right to do this. And I don't think they have the right. It's literally done illegally without the consent. And it's disturbing. It's very disturbing, but I don't think I'll ever be able to understand the mind of a white man and their ideologies against others and how they deem themselves as superior and allow themselves to act like God when they're literally just equal to us. They're humans as well. It's just they happen to come from a certain area on the earth that pigmented their skin a certain way and gave them a certain culture. It doesn't make them better. And dare I say, the United States has no culture except pizza and hot dogs. Like, what do we really got? We got baseball, we got beers, we got hot dogs. What else? We got the lack of gun control. We got recessions. Like, we don't really have a lot to, like, pass on to our children, so they're protecting something that's not even, like, that cool. I really don't get what they're doing.
This is Irwin County Detention Center. These are all the vans that apparently transport the female detainees to Irwin County Hospital, where they've apparently been getting these surgeries. And I'm seeing some detainees in the yard right there. I don't see any women, but I think we should just try to go talk to them. What's your sense of what's going on?
I went to a dental appointment. There was a female in the car, and they said they were just up and taking, giving them surgery to tell them something was wrong with them, giving them surgery.
The female detainee told you that?
Well, she was telling me, like, a lot of females, they're scared, they don't want to do anything, no type of medical, due to the simple fact of what's going on.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hi, good. I'm Gianna. Nice to meet you.
Hey, could you guys kind of step back for me?
Sure, no problem, no problem.
Appreciate you.
Okay, thank you. You know, it's hard to get in there. It's hard to reach detainees. That's part of the MO of this detention center right now, is just limit the amount of information that's coming out of here.
LaSalle Corrections, which operates the facility, denies all wrongdoing. We were able to track down several women still inside the detention center who saw the gynecologist at the center of this, Dr. Mahendra Amin, who denies wrongdoing. They agreed to talk to us, even though they say women face retaliation for talking to the media.
Anna is calling you.
I just feel like they've criminalized those detained within these centers, acting like they're real criminals, even though they're technically under a process of, like, deportation because they've entered the country. But I really don't think borders exist, and to criminalize them to an extent like this, where they, like, force them to never have children ever again, that is not a due process. That is not a way to right wrongs. This is just a whole level of evil.
You from Irwin County Detention Center. This call may be monitored or recorded. The visit was literally 5 minutes. He didn't even ask me why I was there. People like a tour inside me with a condom. He didn't even explain to me what was happening, and he was rough on me. Like, there was a couple times where I said, ouch, you know? He jammed it in there, you know, dirty stuff. He then did a finger exam. I told him that it hurt, and he told me to just hold still for me to sit back down. And I told him I couldn't because it was hurting me so much. He then put through his fingers, but after that, and whenever I was wiping, there was blood on the sheet that I used to wipe myself with.
At what point did you realize that you had had surgery?
When I woke up and I saw the incisions, it turns out that I didn't need the procedure that was performed.
We did not predict that there were this many women, and our government has not only not protected them from harm, but in some cases has retaliated against them and punished them when they have come forward.
This scandal escalated the week of the US presidential election.
And this was before Trump got elected. This has been happening, and it's just incredibly sad that nothing has changed for the better. Instead, it's gotten worse and worse and worse as more women and just in general Latinos are being arrested. Doesn't matter if they're Mexican, doesn't matter if they're Guatemalan, doesn't matter if they're Colombian, Venezuelan, from Venezuela. Like, they're criminalizing everyone that doesn't fit their stereotype of American.
While the world was consumed by the news cycle, ICE was quietly trying to deport women who saw Amin, potential key witnesses in the federal investigation. ICE denies these allegations and says they're fully cooperating. We found these women and reported their stories.
Well, I've noticed that the women, like the girls that are speaking up, they're getting deported, like they're getting rid of them. They're getting rid of us. I'm a nervous wreck now. I'll probably be boarding a flight to have deportation tonight, so I'm, stressed out.
How do you know you're being deported tonight?
My money's been taken out of my account. Usually when your account gets wiped out clean and they max it out to 0, and it says check on there, it's usually for deportation. Even though supposedly my deportation got stopped, if I don't answer, it's because I'm not here or because something happened,
We've filed stay requests with ICE. ICE has denied them.
ICE is always going to detain and deny everything. I can't even talk. I'm getting pissed. But basically, this connects back to this idea of like forced sterilization and others deciding upon the most vulnerable, Latinas and BIPOC communities, who gets to reproduce and when and how and why, which is so unjustified. It's so unjustified and nasty.
So we, not only in the American South, we know Fannie Lou Hamer talks about the Mississippi appendectomy, right, where women of color were forcibly sterilized. We see that practice going on in incarcerated and perhaps in immigrant detention populations, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with the American Eagle ad? Jean Kilbourne, who is a scholar of gender in advertising, tells us that ads just don't sell us products. They sell us notions. Ideas are conflated that the parents passing on traits like eye color, hair color, and a woman of color would not have been hired for this advertisement. That is a purposeful act. Why? Because eugenics is
Why my stream keeps glitching out even though nothing is technically wrong. Every time I try to talk about something serious within the moment
she
that I
talks
talk
about in the
Okay, I think that I'm back. I had literally updated. I only use the internet to stream, and that's only twice a week. So I don't even know why this is not working. But every time I talk about something serious, censor me for whatever reason.
The things we put
so
on
let's just backtrack.
traits.
I'm so sorry if it's not working for you or why it's glitching. I think it's just censorship.
Those two ideas are conflated, that the actress hired for this ad, Sydney Sweeney, is not just blonde and blue-eyed, but makes a point of being blonde and blue-eyed. What she talks about in the ad, parents passing on traits like eye color, hair color, and a woman of color would not have been hired for this advertisement. That is a purposeful act. Why? Because eugenics is deeply tied to the pseudoscientific ideas of racialized superiority. The notion that some races are better than others, and we can prove.
I think to prove my point about YouTube censorship, I'm going to change pace for quite a while and look back at this video and see if we get any more streaming errors. I think you can actually see my stream a bit more right now than in the past. So let's just keep watching this to emphasize how I think that they're the superior race or superior being in this dynamic.
We have filed discretionary releases. We've filed stays of removal. They've all been denied. ICE's removal of women who are potential victims and plaintiffs to medical abuse, possible medical battery, possible fraud that occurred in that detention center. That is tampering with witnesses. It's interfering with the criminal investigation. It is retaliatory.
After a flurry of bad press and pressure, a U.S. Attorney's Office agreed to pause all deportations of Amin patients. But then, within 25 hours, ICE backed out, saying someone at the top didn't agree to it. A federal judge weighed in.
As soon as I change the topic of like white supremacy, now that I say the word, I'm banned again. Oh my god, what is going on? Stream is healthy once I start talking about something that's a bit more safe. Come on.
In ordering a pause to deportations until February. But there are still countless women who have already been deported before testifying. That's exactly what happened to a woman named Yuridia. She was deported.
We're just gonna wait until OBS wants to behave. No data and error is all I'm getting. Maybe I need to end the stream or something because things are not working out today. Should I just move on? I don't even know if you can hear me anymore. We're gonna take a quick, I'm gonna go take a quick break and see if this fixes itself. And if not, I'm probably gonna end the stream just because it's not working and I'm not in the mood today. So we're just gonna take a quick break and then we'll see if it decides to actually work today because... Oh, stream is healthy once I move on. Okay, that's great. That's great. Oh my god. That's so annoying. It starts to work once I stop talking about serious issues. No more errors? Okay, it's gonna start effing again once I put this video back on.
This biologically and or genetically. This is, of course, complete nonsense. We are more alike genetically than we are unalike. But yet, Sydney Sweeney's ad is really speaking to this political moment. I don't think it's a coincidence that this is also the same person who was involved in a kind of soap collaboration, making soap out of her bathwater, which I'm not even going to get into the ew of that. But remember, soap has historically been a really fraught, racialized product because of the ways that darker skinned people are associated with race, pollution, you know, all of those negative things, whereas whiteness is associated with cleanliness. All you have to do is Google racist soap ads to find a bunch of ads like this, which I often teach from, this Pears ad, which suggests that...
Wait. I didn't even change the thing. Give me a
you know,
second.
to be darker skin. But remember, soap has historically been a really fraught, racialized product because of the ways that darker skinned people are associated with race, pollution, you know, all of those negative things, whereas whiteness is associated with cleanliness. All you have to do is Google racist soap ads to find a bunch of ads like this, which I often teach from, this Pears ad, which suggests that, you know, to be darker skinned is to be impure, to be uncleaned. And by using this product, you can miraculously become lighter skinned, clean. If you think this is merely a historical idea, Dove recently had to advertise for this debacle where a darker skinned woman took off this, you know, t-shirt, dark t-shirt. By virtue of using Dove, she became clean, cleansed, white. So all of these ideas are also deeply connected to this political moment because the leader of our particular country right now has been on the record many, many times talking about racehorse theory, talking about the fact that you just have to have better genes to get ahead. And he's also talked about immigrants and others having bad genes and therefore polluting the American kind of body politic. And we see those kinds of logics being used to commit violence against communities of immigrants right now. So does the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign matter? Yeah, it does. Because it is both a testament to this political moment and it's contributing to and reinforcing this kind of anti-immigrant, anti-people of color, pro-eugenic political moment. What?
Okay, it was a whole journey to actually watch this Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign because it seems like YouTube wants to censor me every time I talk about something remotely political or something that touches on the far right or talks about critical thinking, because every single time I'm going to say something or watch something important like this that's politically imbued with a lot of racial tensions, I have an algorithm or a stream health that just does not want to be quote unquote healthy. It just gives me error, no data, error, no data. My OBS is fine. My internet is fine. Everything is set up perfectly. I don't use my internet only until I go streaming. I pay $55 for like a medium level internet, whatever, right? For streaming specifically. I'm spending $55 for streaming. And yet OBS and all these things start to glitch out right when I'm going to talk about something important. And I bet you the rest of this live stream, there will be no problem whatsoever. And it always happens when I talk about something important. It always happens when I'm going to be talking about politics. On Twitch, it's fine. On YouTube, it does not like it. It does not like it. I swear, if I just stream on Twitch, I'd be fine. But on YouTube, there seems to be this correlation. Oh, you want to talk about something politically imbued or politically contentious? It glitches out. I don't know if it's listening. I don't know if there's keywords. Everything is fine on my behalf as long as I don't talk about politics. It will not glitch. Everything will be perfect if I don't talk about important issues. I'm not going to talk about small talk. It just pisses me off that I just want to talk about something and the system, YouTube, just wants to censor me every single time. I've been streaming for 6 months now. At first, I thought it was me. It's not me. It's literally YouTube. It's been proven again and again and again. It's YouTube. It messes up my OBS. It messes up everything just for censorship. Like, I don't get what's going on, but YouTube needs to fix its live stream settings. And if it's listening, it needs to, like, actually, like, stop with the glitches because I don't even know how to fix it. And I think it's really important to remember that fast fashion is something that's in all our lives. Like, we've all been to the mall. We've all roamed the streets and malls and shops. Like, we all know what American Eagle is if you're American. So when we talk about Sydney Sweeney and how she's comparing jeans with, like, internal jeans, JENES jeans, this is a deeply worrying moment because their target audience is, what is it, 16 to, like, 20-year-olds, like, no more than 25-year-olds. You know, like, this is a young brand catered to American women. For you to be talking about some racial comparison, I don't know who you're trying to reach except other white people, other white men, especially if you're catering towards their male gaze. It's incredibly ugly how they're playing the game and using Sydney as a pawn. And I think she's doing it for money. She has a lingerie company. She's in all these other brands. She is deeply interested in being maybe multi-billionaire, and she will never have to work again, you know? But she's 27 years old. One, she is not American Eagle's customer demographic age. Like, she is way older than what this brand serves to. So I don't even know why they decided to, like, get her. Maybe because she's relevant, maybe because she's the aesthetic that they're looking for. But I do think she's a pawn, but also complicit because she has cognitive skills. She read that script and yet still read the script. I do think that they need to do better. And one person here says American Eagle could have easily made a better ad by saying all our jeans make us unique, but they're all made of the same material. So yes, they can make unique jeans. They can cater it to a lot of different people and be like, we're all part of this because it's made of the same thing. But, like, they don't. Like, they actually were saying that this was intended to create a bit of mischief. And I think that mischief is racism within this ad. And to think that fast fashion is not a colonial pursuit is BS. Like, it is BS. We cannot continue to ignore this. We cannot continue to be unaware because this is literally fashion. It's a colonial and capitalistic pursuit. And I'm sure the American Eagle group is all white and there's no diversity in their leadership group. And they thought this was a good idea because they have supremacist thinking and honestly fascist, because this is reminiscent to Nazi propaganda where they said only you survive if you have blue hair and blonde eye or blue eyes and blonde hair. I can't even talk anymore. But those were the only people that belonged, and if you are outside of that framing, outside of that quote unquote norm, all you deserve is death. This is literally Nazi propaganda, because look at what's happening with Latina women. They're being detained, they're being sterilized, and most likely they're getting killed or taking everything away from them that can give them a good livelihood. To take away all their money and put them in at zero, leaves them dry with no chance of ever getting out of the hellhole they've been put in, just because they wanted a better life in the United States. I don't think girls resonate with this messaging. Not only is she over sexualized, it caters to the male gaze. The jeans are literally fast fashion. They don't even fit her right. So, like, who would actually buy this for the upcoming school year? This is a going back to school campaign. Do you really think Gen Z are going to buy this? No, I don't think so. So I think
Sweeney's what happens.
So I think they had an ulterior motive, and I think it was to improve their stocks because their stocks have been horrendous, and some other people go on to explain it as well through that stock lens. But a lot of people have been bullying Sydney, but we have to take a look at the executives and what they were thinking. They're the whores here, and they're the whore players. Whore players? I don't even know what that means.
Down from
the villains. They're the villains, not the. I don't even know what horror players is. Villains. My neurodivergence makes me say the weirdest things sometimes.
parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Jeans are past.
I think it's a comedic take, but it does diverge into bullying. We don't have to bully Sydney. It's just she should have known better. She should actually put her thinking cap on and be like, yo, maybe this is not something I want to be part of. But when you're greedy and you're money hungry. But they are saying that she put feminism back 100 years.
Hello, you dirty little boys. Are you interested in my body? Wash? Well, you can't have it. Because this isn't for boys. It's for men. Hello, you dirty...
I think it's American Eagle that set feminism back. And, let's see. Oh my god. Wait, before I continue on, look at this. They have AI generated sewing patterns. Wait, that's not the video. It's this one. There's AI generated, like, patterns on the clothing. That's disgusting. Okay. But let's look at the leadership group of American Eagle. Where was it? There is a video that was made showcasing all of them. Sorry, there's just a lot of videos. Let's look into it on Google. Because I can't find the video. American Eagle leadership group. I'm typing, but the typing is nowhere to be seen. Let's see. American Eagle leadership group. If this is boring, it's okay. Okay. So this is the executive leadership. Jay, white man. Jennifer, white woman. Marissa, white woman. Sarah, can you guess what I'm going to say next? White woman. Mike. Mike is a white man. And then we got Valerie. She'd be looking white. So this is the people that thought the Sydney Sweeney American Eagle campaign was a good idea. Oh, can we just give it up to the lack of critical thinking from these people? Jay, he got a lot of explaining to do. A lot of explaining to do. And you know what's crazy? He has family that has literally been tied to backing the current Israel Prime Minister. Like, these people are fascist. There's been countless proof. Countless proof. Can't they get like a new job? Can't they do something else with their lives? And a lot of people have started boycotting not only American Eagle, but Aerie, which is another brand connected to them. These people are passing down ideas of white supremacy within clothing. Clothing is the medium here. Clothing is the way they're spreading their toxic ideals. And yet they remain a fast fashion brand, even though they could be a good, inclusive brand. And a lot of people have felt betrayed of what they've done because they used to have more inclusive branding. They had more inclusive models, like diverse models, and now they almost backtracked for some reason. And now customers feel betrayed. So like, how did this pivot even come to be is beyond me. They haven't really uploaded on their YouTube though. Oh my gosh. Well, let's continue to look at some other thoughts from other people have been saying. Yeah, a lot of customers are boycotting
Genes
them.
are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at this comment. The ad states she has great genes, not the best genes. I'm convinced you all love to live in victim mode. I don't even know what that means, but it kind of reminds me of like Make America Great Again. Like, it's so interesting how they use the word great genes and not best genes. That's so interesting. I don't know what point she was trying to make, but she was on something else. Oh, some people are like, oh my god, everyone's offended about everything. But I do think we need some critical thought of like why this is being done. Like, we can't just dismiss it and be like, oh, this means nothing. It always means something. You know what's at stake though when these rhetorics continue to happen and we dismiss it as important? They get affected. Innocent people get affected. I don't give a heck about Sydney. I don't give a heck about American Eagle or Aerie. I don't give a heck about companies. What I care about is people like Uredia, who literally are facing the consequences of white supremacist thought and leadership, that think they have the audacity to treat her in such a harsh manner, even though her kids have a chronic illness or like a illness that can literally take their life if they don't stay in the United States, but they continue to be deported and they continue to be shown no mercy. I get it, like some people have crossed quote unquote illegally, but it does not justify the dehumanization of people.
To Mexico just 3 days after her surgery.
Es muy apegada. Yo los protejo y caminamos todas juntas. Nos ponemos metas en el grupo, pues de nosotros, en nuestra pequeña familia. Que le diga en nuestra pequeña familia, que son las niñas y yo. Sienta bien a Yurima. Hazle un pedacito de espacio.
As a child, what did you know about America?
Pues nada. Empecé a pensar en la oportunidad. Dije, ¿por qué no? ¿Por qué no para mejorar una vida mejor para mí y pues para mis papás y ayudar a mis hermanos?
Once Yuridia arrived in the US, she found work, got married, and started a family. But soon after, she experienced a series of domestic violence incidents. In one altercation, Yuridia ran to the neighbor's house. They called the police. When they arrived, there was no translator. Yuridia was arrested. Her partner was not.
A mí nunca se me dijo por qué me arrestaron si yo era la que yo estaba golpeada. Y todavía sin no tener familia, la angustia que me provocaron, ¿qué iba a pasar con mis hijas? Estaban con mi vecina, pero...
Yuridia was sent to Irwin County Detention Center, and 10 weeks later, she was ordered to see a doctor. Why did you originally see the doctor when you were there?
Cuando yo llegué con una inflamación del lado de mi costilla izquierda y muy débil. Yo me sentía muy débil.
Was that because of the domestic violence incident?
Sí, porque cuando ella me vino, pues fue parte de los golpes, entonces yo lo traía inflamada. Me pasa a una oficina y me doy cuenta que es un ginecólogo. Es cuando él me dice, entra el doctor, la que habla español e inglés, y me dicen que se me va a hacer un solograma, y de ahí veo al doctor que pone en la cámara un condón, entonces lo introduce en mi vagina y empieza a checar. La pantalla está de este lado y me dice, tienes un quiste y una infección.
So I have some of your medical records here. When you first went to see Dr. Amin, did you have, and I'm listing the symptoms that are listed here, did you have chronic pelvic pain?
No.
Before your surgery, at any point before your surgery, did you have chronic pelvic pain?
No.
The second diagnosis that he has here is a medical term that means basically that you had a very heavy period that lasted longer than normal. Is that true?
No, mi periodo nada más ha sido de 7 días y ha sido frecuente cada mes, igual.
The next one is that it's a medical term for pain.
The doctor literally lied. She was detained after her partner domestically was violent to her. Domestic violence. And she gets an illegal surgery based on lies, based on toxic rhetorics of who gets to survive and who gets to live and who gets to pass down their genes.
During menstruation.
Mi menstruación ha sido normal y nunca he tenido dolores porque de hecho yo no tomo tampoco ni medicina para los dolores de menstruación ni nada de eso.
Eurydia says Amin gave her an injection which caused her to sweat and have abnormal mood swings. She cried a lot. 3 weeks later, Amin told Eurydia the cysts were still there and that she needed to have surgery.
Empiezo a preocuparme y yo acostada estoy viendo los focos. Veo a un doctor que viene, me pone una jeringa en la manguerita del suero que tenía y de repente ya no veo nada, ya no supe nada de mí. Cuando despierto, pues estoy en mi habitación y me empiezo a ver, cuando me quito que me dicen que me vista, los puntos en mi, un punto aquí, un punto aquí, un punto aquí. Y adolorida aquí, entonces empiezo a tener mucho dolor y me empiezo a agarrar así el estómago, y por adentro me siento vacía. No me dijeron qué me hicieron, no me dieron un papel, no me enseñaron qué me hicieron. Que yo me sentí como me estaban tratando, me sentía como un experimento.
I just wanted to be absolutely clear. Before you had surgery, did you know you were going to have surgery, and did you consent to it?
No, no.
A team of the country's top OBGYNs.
This is the reality of what we're facing. And so when comments say, oh, the Sydney Sweeney campaign isn't a huge deal, it basically is a huge deal. And it makes it seem like these things are not a reality, that things are not serious, when it almost justifies and normalizes what's happening in our society, where it gives almost a unsolicited permission by people that think they have some sort of power over others to do things like this to her with no consent, with no permission, with no conversation, with no communication, but literally takes away life, her future children's life that she could have decided to have, but no longer has that decision because he took it away from her by force, by insidiousness, by violence, by these rhetorics that say, you don't get to pass down genes like that because those genes are criminal. They're bad. They're ugly. They're not worthwhile. I don't agree with them. I don't think those ideals are humane or ethical or justified in any logical way. It's just white supremacy is all about controlling the narrative, controlling who gets to stay and who is elite and who is superior. And if you don't meet those standards, you're killed. Or you're expedited somewhere else. You're told to go.
No.
A team of the country's top OBGYNs evaluated Eurydia's medical records and found there was no clear indication or medical reason for her transvaginal ultrasound, hormonal injection, or surgery based on her medical records. Amin continues to deny all wrongdoing and insists the independent doctors only received partial records. One doctor who reviewed records said Amin may have saved a woman's life. So in the home care instructions, like the aftercare instructions that you received, or at least that are in your medical records, it says that you were supposed to have a follow-up appointment with the doctor after 2 weeks. Did you have that appointment?
No, no tuve una cita después. A mí me deportaron el día 31 de agosto del 2020 a 3 días de mi operación.
Eurydia says she was crippled with pain as she was
They deported her 3 days after a major surgery. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, this shit pisses me off.
forced to board a bus, flight, and then 2 more
How could they do this here? It's just, the cruelty is enormous. It's enormous.
buses to get back to her parents' home in Saltillo, Mexico, where her daughters, all U.S. citizens, were waiting for her.
If people are deported from the United States, the opportunities to return to the United States are extremely limited. The only way that they could return is if their original deportation order is reopened. That's very difficult to do.
Against all odds, Eurydia and her 6 daughters may be able to return to the U.S. A judge has agreed to reopen Eurydia's removal proceedings, not because she saw a mean or had gynecologic surgery, but due to her status as a Violence Against Women Act, or VAWA, recipient. She could now be eligible for an adjustment of legal status.
Ya, pero estábamos sorprendidas que nos dieron la corte tan rápido, entonces vamos a...
Oh my gosh, she literally went through it. For the sake of time, I do think I want to move on to talk about the Guess ads that have been happening that have been using AI models. It's quite a pivot, but I do think that we're all very well aware of what's happening with women and just people, just Latinos in general, who are being detained with no due process and then expedited across the world with no clear idea of like what's going to happen to them. Like they're being sent to other states, they're being sent to countries that are not their own. Like there's been Guatemalans sent to Mexico. They're not from Mexico. Like why did you think that they're Mexican? Like there is no vetting process. They've even illegally deported citizens. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, let's move on to talking about these ads because they've been circulating all over TikTok and now it's gotten onto the news. You know it's a serious topic when it's gotten onto the news, aka YouTube.
So you think you know Wix.
Oh, I'm actually gonna get ad blockers. I'm gonna start using Firefox or something. That's what someone told me to use to like not have any ads. So that's coming up. No more ads.
Are designed to look unreal, but one ad has taken it a step further. A model entirely generated by artificial intelligence featured in the latest edition of Vogue, and it's caused quite the stir. The ad for the jeans brand Guess features a blonde-haired woman posing in a summer dress with a small disclaimer in the corner which revealed the image was AI generated. The marketing agency responsible for the spread specialises in AI content, and a quick look at their Instagram page reveals endless runway-ready women, none of them real. The revelation that AI is now in vogue has raised alarms, with fears that the harmful beauty standards are being promoted. According to experts, AI models can reinforce and amplify unattainable ideals. They are created with perfect hair, perfect skin, and the quote-unquote perfect body. It's not just magazines. AI-generated influencers are now dominating social media, with many followers unaware that they aren't real. One influencer called Mia Zilu called the world's attention with her life that looked too good to be true. From Coldplay concerts to Wimbledon, her perfect pictures may seem harmless, but experts worry they are altering our understanding of reality and making us more susceptible to digital manipulation.
The thing is, you wouldn't be able to recognize these are AI models. Like if you see it with like your naked eyes and nothing is labeled, you wouldn't be able to tell. That's like the scary part of all of this. We don't know what we're looking at. And AI models are going to continue to improve, sadly, because of technology and innovation. And it worries me because we need some sort of law. We need something to tell us this is fake, this is AI. But it's not. Nothing is really progressing to protect our rights on this.
Anna Wintour's seat is still warm, but Vogue just made a major change to the fashion industry as we know it by putting AI-generated models in their August issue. Like this woman right here, not real. That face, the body, the outfit, all AI-generated by a startup. They mention it in this teeny tiny fine print.
If you're flipping through a magazine, are you really going to be looking at the small details at the side of the page? Like, I don't think so.
But who reads the fine print anymore? And Vogue is a leader in setting beauty standards. So when you're looking at real people, you see the flaws, you see those loose hairs on Gigi, you see real people, real bodies. But when you're replacing that with AI generated images, like you get no blemishes, you get fake bodies, these like ideals that are impossible for somebody to live up to. And then you have these younger generations. I can't even imagine the people that are going to be reading this, looking at this and trying to compare and become what they see in the magazines, which now is not even a real person. And let's talk about timing. Anna Wintour just stepped down as the editor-in-chief of Vogue. Before that, we never saw AI images in the US Vogue. And this isn't a tech flex, it's a signal. Like this whole industry is built on aspirational beauty, but instead of using real models, they are literally using a prompt and some code. Anna Wintour's seat is still...
I worry for the models and their well-being because their job and their livelihood depends on their face, their looks. And if there is now more competition outside of other humans, I think it's just gonna get harder and harder and harder for them to like find a job. I really do like how she explained that video, so I'm gonna go ahead and subscribe. Girl Splains. Oh, I love that. Girl Splains it. But yeah,
Anna Wintour's seat is
my ears. There has been more progress towards protecting their worker rights for models, at least. But I do think that AI part of their work can really take away their jobs. And like, who cares now if they do have like, I guess, worker rights if they can't even get a job because there's so many AI models to compete with? Like, don't get me wrong, they need humane conditions, but like at the same time, like we need to protect them from these AI models. And I don't think we need AI models, honestly. It's just going to take away jobs. It's going to create more competition. It's going to create more unrealistic standards of beauty. It's going to fragment our idea of real versus fake. So I think we can do with, I think we can do without. We don't need them. That's what I'm saying. We don't need AI models. We don't need it. I sound like a 5-year-old trying to explain something that's like common sense. We do not need AI models.
And of course, the other thing they're replacing as well, I mean, you know, they have people pulling beers and all sorts of stuff. I'd like to see a robot pull a good Guinness, see how the head on that goes. But the other thing they're replacing is people in all other manners of jobs, including models now, it turns out, apparently. In Vogue, which I suppose is the one place you would expect to see pictures of real women, Guess has run an advertisement with an AI model in it, wearing one of their dresses. I mean, I know this has always been an argument that, oh, well, you know, there's going to be mechanisation of everything to some degree, and that necessarily requires people to be put out of work. But
I don't think it's justified. We're currently in a risk years that are freshly out of college and they're struggling to find a job, struggling to find an opportunity that doesn't require them to have like 5 to 10 years of experience. Entry level is no longer a reality given the circumstances and the expectations that they're being placed upon to like get something. So to think, oh, okay, like now we have more competition because of AI and all these tech, quote unquote, tech innovations. It's just, it adds more to our shoulders, more burden, more unfair competition, and it's all going to go for, it's going to benefit the tech companies. It's not going to benefit us, the normal working day people who are struggling to find an opportunity in general. So we don't need this competition. We just don't. And I like how the subscribers of Vogue are dropping their subscription.
It does
Not
make
the models.
but
Please, can the models still keep working?
It makes products cheaper, and so we say, okay, it's good. You know, you used to have to make washing machines by hand, and now we have machines. You can do all this stuff. I understand all of that, but we're getting to a point now where AI and robotics will pretty much be able to do every job on the face of the planet. And once we get to that point, and the robots are doing all the work, including the modelling and driving the trucks and pulling the beers and whatever else, who's actually going to be in a job except for the people servicing these robots, which isn't going to be the billions of people walking around the face of the planet? So who then is going to be able to afford the products that the robots are going to try and flog to us? Like, I think we're heading towards a really serious economic crisis here, because there will come a point where AI will tip over this way and it will have taken all the jobs and then we're stuffed.
And they seem to do the jobs better than humans. I mean, this AI model is more stunning and more attractive than any human model on the face of the earth. No, that is the reason these things have developed.
That woman is crazy. What are you talking about? Of course the AI model is perfect. It was meant to be perfect. It's not human. But we can never achieve those ideals. Maybe she's trying to achieve those ideals, but like, for example, my parents, they're going to be out of a job if AI takes over the factories that they work in. We're disposable within this economy. Like, service workers are the most vulnerable. BIPOC and low-income communities are going to suffer the most because they often are the ones working in factories. And if it becomes atomized and it becomes AI fueled and powered, then like, what's left for them? There's going to be more poverty, more disparity, and we're going to be reaching this very dystopian, ugly world where no one can even earn a living anymore. It is only going to benefit those that own tech firms. That's literally the only people that benefit. The minority, which is these like greedy tech billionaires, millionaires.
They can track the analytics on social media, and they have figured out the optimal form of female that can be created using AI.
Lady, what is wrong with you? You got a soul in there?
I mean, what does that do to beauty standards and unrealistic body image that women already struggle with in the age of social media? It's just going to get even worse because now it is so.
Wait, did she just pivot? Wait, what?
I mean, this AI model is more stunning and more attractive than any human model on the face of the earth. No, that is the reason these things have developed. They can track the analytics on social media, and they have figured out the optimal form of female that can be created using AI. I mean, what does that do to beauty standards and unrealistic body image that women already struggle with in the age of social media? It's just going to get even worse because now.
Did she just backtrack, or is she just reading the prompt? It seems like both of them went back and forth on different levels of like opinions, almost like they're catering to every audience, but like at the same time it's like, where do they really stand? Because she was saying this AI model is perfect, but it can cause issues. So which one is it? What, do you like it or not like it?
It is so unrealistic, it's actually fake.
Yeah, I think we all know it's fake, girl. AI can replace all politicians. I don't think we should replace all politicians with AI. I know it was a joke, but that would be so scary. Looking forward to the day CEOs are replaced by AI. That would mean they have gained real consciousness. And that's the risk that we're taking. Will AI gain its own consciousness? Maybe. I have no idea if it's capable of doing that, but I don't think anyone does. I don't think we know what we're entering into, which is this most scary part of it all. But let's go ahead and watch this video that I recently discovered where a consumer visited a clothing factory in Pakistan, and she was shocked in discovering what she found. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and then we're going to go take a quick break. We really need an ad blocker. I haven't been checking the YouTube comments. Okay. Let's see.
Ever again. This is where your clothes come from that you buy at malls in the US. All the way over here in Pakistan. This is a Guess denim jacket. See how much this is? $72. And how much did you say you think it costs to produce?
Probably around $10.
$10. That is where our clothes come from. Makes me want to never buy clothes in the US ever again. Good afternoon from Lahore. Today I am very excited to say that I am touring a textiles factory where you can see how the cloth is made, which is later then sold in the US under big name brands like Zara. All of this is because a very nice Pakistani man saw me posting on my Instagram threads that I was visiting Lahore, and he was like, I have a textiles factory. If you're interested in that, you can come by and see it. So of course I'm going, no question. Right now I'm in a Kareem 40 minutes outside of the city center of Lahore, which I've never been to before. This area is completely foreign to me, but I'm very excited to go check this out. So, Chala, let's go.
I have no idea where I am right now. Okay, so I'm here, but the guy at the front gate takes his job very seriously. He's a grade A employee and he will not let me in, and nobody knows who the guy that I'm supposed to meet up with is, so fingers crossed this all works out. All right, I've been given the go-ahead. Thank you. I'm in.
I sent this guy and I thought it was a local friend. He
Okay.
went outside and he came back, he said that there's no one. There's
Yeah.
just a foreigner. I'm like, yeah, that's my guess.
So all this stuff becomes clothes that you see in the mall in the USA. I don't think the camera does it justice how big this room is. Is that supposed to happen? We just had a fabric dye explosion. So how long does it go in these machines? 10 to 12 hours in these giant tubs that are left open so you can see it. It's crazy. I feel like in the US we are so removed from how our clothing is produced because nothing is made there anymore. This mountain of fabric is the size of me. I don't know. And you go through that in one day? Like you'll go through this much fabric in one day? Oh my God. It just keeps going too. So all of these mountains of clothes, that they're all the same weight and consistency. This is all for just like one shirt, right?
This is one batch. Sorry about the heat. It's just that
Don't apologize about the heat. I agreed to come visit you at a textiles factory. So how many workers do you have?
Around 300.
300?
Yeah. But it also varies because the workers are paid according to the pieces that they make.
Yeah.
So, like if we have like more orders, if we have more orders, then we'll just hire more people.
Okay.
And ridiculousness. So now we're going to the boiler.
The boiler?
Yeah.
So we weren't just in the boiler, because this breeze, like in there, it makes Pakistan feel nice and cold.
So, but all of the steam they're using, these machines are using, are coming from the boiler.
Oh.
It's from the outside. That's all the coal for the boiler.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my God, coal. I never thought of coal being used before when I think about fabric making.
Because we used gas first.
Yeah.
But that's really expensive these days.
Yeah.
So now we have to shift to coal.
So where do you get the coal from? Is it from Pakistan?
Yeah, from Pakistan.
So miners have to go dig the coal.
So basically we don't do that, we just buy from...
Yeah, you buy it.
So I don't
I'm
know
just breaking down like how many steps there are to make that shirt you buy from Zara, which I've never thought of before. And then you come here and you see it, and it's actually such an involved process. So this is where you sew it up, or it's just the fabric?
This is where all the finished fabric is.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's like a printer, but for fabric. We have to cross under the fabric. From start to finish, how long do you think an item of clothing takes, like from the making the fabric
so
to?
Because it's bulk orders, so depends on the quantity. For example, like if you get an order for 25,000 pieces, it will take around 40 to 45 days to make.
Welcome to Ross Math, where GPAs are high and dorm decor budgets are low. Go to Ross to curate the vibes without breaking the bank.
It is insane.
So for this line,
yeah,
the last operation is over there.
Okay.
We'll go see that.
So this is where your clothes come from that you buy at malls in the US, all the way over here in Pakistan. Is that the fabric we were seeing dyed before?
No, I think that's a different color.
Oh, yeah.
The other one was navy blue, this is purplish. Did we see the red fabric down there?
We saw navy blue, yeah. There are hundreds and hundreds of people working here, and it's all assembly line. So one person, you said one person will stitch.
Only one thing.
Only one thing. We're gonna go see a finished product. After this one t-shirt or pair of pants or whatever they're working on has touched the hands of maybe 100 people, you get a finished piece of clothing. This is a Guess denim jacket that feels amazing. It feels really high quality, and it has the price tag on it. Let's see how much this is. $72. And how much did you?
Why does she keep blurring out the faces? That was kind of hurting my eyes right there. But that's so interesting. I do wonder what brand it is, but I'm sure they wouldn't really disclose that, huh? But let's continue watching. I do want to see how to get my headphones to work again. Nothing is working today. Nothing is working today, so let's see. My headphones stopped working. It's the computer. Okay, let's continue to watch. Sorry if I'm interrupting the watch session. I do need to get my Bluetooth to get moving. The Bluetooth, where are you? I don't have a second monitor, so let me continue to do this while you just watch me suffer. Let's see, open a Bluetooth. Turn it on. Paired, connect. Headphones, come on. Perfect, it's working again. Jesus Christ. Tech. I've never been a tech person. And it's showing through in some moments. Okay. Let's see why she's blurred.
You say you think it costs to produce?
Probably around
$10. So that is where our clothes come from. And this Guess baby jacket, it's probably going to be $100 because it feels really nice. It feels really nice, and it says contains recycled cotton fibers and recycled plastic. It's acting like it's, I don't know, it's acting like it's eco-friendly, but it's produced in Pakistan and then using so much fossil fuels to ship to the US and the UK and Europe and everything. Not to shit on Guess, because I like Guess, but, and I honestly, if I was shopping, I would look at this and I would want to buy it, but this makes me want to never buy clothes in the US ever again. I'm just going to come to Pakistan to go shopping for the rest of my life. So there's a market where all the
You can hear the pain in her voice. And she is coming up with some unrealistic expectations for herself of like, one, I'm never going to buy clothing ever again. And two, I'm just going to go to Pakistan to like buy my clothing. I don't think she or anyone has the privilege to be doing that on a consistent basis. If she does, I mean, she has to go fly to Pakistan. But I get her overwhelm of like all the missions and just inherently dirty supply chain that she's being revealed to in this factory. But I think it gets a lot worse. I think this is a very PR coded clothing factory, so I think she hasn't even seen the worst, because a lot of garment workers are in much more dangerous, harmful conditions, and she's only hyperfixating on the clothing and looking at things on a very surface level, which, I mean, I don't blame her. It's what she was exposed to, but to come up with unrealistic solutions is just another whole other discussion. So I do wish that she kind of thinks more about secondhand options, and to think more critically about Guess. She did mention that she liked the brand and was almost dismissing what was going on because she liked Guess, but I mean, if it's part of a dirty supply chain, you can't just keep your affinity to a brand. You have to question them, and you have to open your heart up to a little bit of heartbreak based on the reality of what's going on. So hopefully she gets more grounded and thinks about it in a more big level systemic change way, and it's more practical for her to like think about things where, you know, like where she can like realistically think, okay, maybe I can buy something, but it's only at the thrift store, versus thinking, oh, I can't buy anything ever again, because that's not a realistic take. You will always need clothing.
Rejects from these nice Western brands go to called Kareem Block in Lahore that I am going to have to check out, because what they do is they cut the tag, keep the same super high quality clothing, and then they sell it for 1/5 the price. Yeah. I'm going to have to check that market out, because this is so nice. And then it would be $15. That is insane. Yeah. I'm going to start running trips. Thank you so much. Shukriya. I'm going to start running trips to Pakistan, like shopping trips. You know how
I don't think that's a realistic solution, and it's giving off the wrong message that we have to escape our living situation and go somewhere else to find a solution. And I think she just realized that people are making these logo or like superior items in a factory, and then like it costs way cheaper in a different location. So I think she's just realized that logos are just an idea that we're paying for, and it's not based on any real value. It's just like, we just think because it's expensive and it's because it's that logo, we think it's worth more, or worth the price, or worth its like appeal, you know? But it's all an illusion, and I think it's breaking right in front of our eyes, and that's the pain too. The illusion is gone. So for her to have shopping trips is just her caving into this illusionary state of being of like, oh, I can make it fun, I can still make it magical, but still like do good. I don't blame her for this line of thinking. It's just she needs to be a little bit more critical in her line of thought, because you shouldn't escape your reality and be like, oh, I'll just do a shopping trip back to Pakistan and buy all our clothing. You can buy locally. You can do a clothing swap. It's not that serious. You can just do something locally.
you know how they like in Bali they organize yoga retreats? Right. I'm going to organize shopping trips to Pakistan. Do all your Christmas shopping in Pakistan every year. So when you buy something from Zara in New Jersey, this is where your clothes actually come from here in Pakistan, and probably you would say roughly maybe 300 people had to work on this t-shirt before it could be sold in a mall. So it's just a tremendous amount of human labor, effort, expenses, and also the logistics of it, like shipping things all over the world that you don't think of when you go to Zara, H&M, Pull&Bear, stores like that. But this has been really eye-opening, and I think that our overconsumption in the US might be a bit much once you see how much work has to go into making just one article of clothing.
You by Kotex Balance.
Well, the video cut out, but you could literally see the shock and the overwhelm and the sadness in her eyes. I don't think she specializes in the fashion industry, so I don't think she had any clue about the issues. It's the pain in her eyes, like, says everything I need to know. Yeah, she doesn't even talk about fashion. She just kind of happened upon it, seems like, by her traveling. But this is like what we need. We need more people discovering the realities of what's going on in the industry, because if not, we're just going to continue to be complacent and continue to buy fast fashion without a further clue of what's going on. Okay, so interesting, but we should definitely explore how Alexander Wang is coming back to the New York Fashion Week, which is very scary to think about because he is such a predator, and yet he's continuously allowed back, even though there is cases of him being a sexual weirdo with other people, especially trans people, and yet he's allowed to come back in like as if he did nothing wrong. And it was 11 people that have made claims against him, yet he's allowed back in New York Fashion Week. It's disgusting, the behavior that's allowed just for the name of fashion. If you can't tell, like, I'm just in a bad mood today, but it just illuminates a bit more of my anger and my disappointment in the industry, because it's often just like ego entrenched in fashion. Like, there is no need to have a weirdo in the industry. Okay, let's look at the allegations. Because we need to know what's going on to analyze the situation. Give me a second. SS626. Okay. I forgot what show it was. Okay, here we go. It's been happening for a while too. This was like a 4-year-old video. That's crazy. Okay, let's look at this one.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Natasha. For those of you guys that are new, welcome. For those of you guys that are returning, thank you so much for coming back. Please, please, please just take a second to subscribe down below. That's the only way to support me and my channel. Alexander Wang, he is a famous fashion designer, and he has recently been accused of sexually assaulting males and trans models. So this is a very, very serious accusation, and I just wanted to get into the details of those that have spoken out and what we know about what has happened so far. So after reading an insider article, I was able to gather a little bit more information. I do have my computer here, so if you see me look down, I have all my information here. So on Monday, 2 Instagram accounts that are very known for exposing wrongdoings in the fashion world actually posted the accusations. So it was Shit Model Management and Diet Product. They both compiled accusations made by people who say that New York City-based designer sexually assaulted them. There were some allegations that were made anonymously, but there were 2 people that actually spoke out and revealed themselves. And as of yet, Alexander Wang has not responded to anything. He actually even turned off his comment section on Instagram, and I'm guessing he's trying to figure it out with his lawyers, or I don't even know what he's doing, but he has not.
You know what he did? He deleted comments, girl. That's what they do. They try to cover it up, which is scary to think about. And you know, so little of these brands actually covered what happened. Very little has been covered. News guide, fashion feed. No, I would assume there would be more like news bits on this, but I guess people just care about the collections and not what he's doing wrong. Okay, let's go back. This was 4 years ago, though. This is like old information.
Hi everyone, welcome back.
Oh God.
Industry. There are 2 men in a different part of the club. Advantage of the.
Okay.
There were some allegations that were made anonymously, but there were 2 people that actually spoke out and revealed themselves. And as of yet, Alexander Wang has not responded to anything. He actually even turned off his comment section on Instagram, and I'm guessing he's trying to figure it out with his lawyers, or I don't even know what he's doing, but he has not said a word. So the accusation started with graphic designer Owen Mooney, who shared his story on TikTok, and it started getting traction. And so this is exactly what Owen had to say. I was in a club in New York City 2017 waiting to watch a performer. I had been separated from my friends and no one could move because the club was so packed with people. The person next to me took advantage of the fact we were unable to move, so I was trapped next to him and he started to stroke my leg and groping my crotch. I froze still because I was in shock, and when I turned to look who it was, I was even more shocked to see it was Alexander Wang. I didn't say anything, while I regret, but I just had to slowly move myself away from him. Later on, in a different part of the club, his friend
Alexander Wang, of all people, had to be doing the weirdest stuff. I'm sure if he liked someone, if Alexander liked something, they would reciprocate. He doesn't have to go touching strangers. That's so weird.
Friend pushed me into him to get my attention like we were in a school playground. He began to throw his hands around me and hang off of me. I was too polite and said hi, but again, just wanted to get away from him. The reason I spoke out almost 4 years later was because I was made aware of other much worse sexual assaults he has made. And people need to be aware that he is a huge predator in the fashion industry. There are too many predators in fashion using their power to abuse and manipulate people. And since shit model management have shared my story, even more stories about Wang have surfaced. So the more he is called out for his outrageous actions, the sooner they'll stop. And after reading that and studying psychology for 4 years while I was in college, I understood why he didn't speak out right away. A lot of the times when people experience sexual trauma, they have short-term and long-term effects that come with those.
Oh.
You know what they...
Well, it's still going on. Like there was 11 people that came out, which is so scary, and yet he continues to be put into the spotlight in his collections. I just don't know how you can forgive someone after 11 cases of allegations against them. It's concerning. It's so concerning. YouTube is like notorious of like not picking up any good news or like any substantial critical thinking on the fashion industry, and I've mostly gotten a lot of my takes on TikTok, which sounds bad.
And then we'd have to play.
Which sounds bad, but like most people on YouTube are just trying to be like super clean and edited, especially if they're on like news programs. But like here on TikTok, you just hear unfiltered thoughts and opinions that are just not seen anywhere else. So let me look at another source that we can explore, because I don't see anything on YouTube, which is frustrating. He used to be a very hot topic back in 2023. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it. Maybe people are forgetting, but yeah, in 2022 was the first time he came back after all those allegations, and then 2023 was his redemption arc, and now 2024 I feel like less people are talking about him. But let's see what she said.
I swear Alexander Wang is like a cat with 9 lives. Like, you just can't get rid of him. Hi, it's Karina, you're a fashion nerd, and today I wanted to cover the controversy surrounding Alexander Wang. Now, if you don't already know, Alexander Wang has been canceled for some time. He hasn't shown an official collection in 3 years. Look, I'm all about giving second chances, but I just don't think what Alexander Wang has done is something forgivable. He has been known to repeat offenses of sexual assault, groping male models in nightclubs. Some claim to have witnessed a victim being drugged by Wang or slipping ecstasy into their drinks without their knowledge. Several trans women have come out to speak up about being groped or having their bodies exposed by him. Like, one person is bad enough, but this is like several people coming out about it. On top of that, as if that wasn't enough, one of his employees filed a lawsuit against him for employing sweatshop-like conditions. Wen Yu Lu claimed that he was, quote, hospitalized for several days after he passed out at his workstation because he was forced to work 25 hours straight without a break. Another worker, Flor Duante,
25 hours without a break? Jesus Christ. That is a sweatshop. That's not sweatshop-like conditions. That is a sweatshop. That's crazy. And this is supposed to be a luxury brand.
stated that she was fired after filing for workers' compensation and that she had worked 90-hour weeks at Wang's factory. I think Wang was trying to be strategic by soft launching himself in LA as opposed to New York last year. This is Adriana Lima supporting him, but I just don't understand why all these celebrities have to keep supporting him. Like, there are so many talented people out there. Fashion is a competitive space. In my opinion, this is a big low for Julia Fox, who is supposed to be such a champion for feminism. There's just no room or reason that we have to accept him, given that there are so many people who could take his place. She literally could have chosen anyone else to support. There are so many emerging designers who have yet to have their day in the limelight. Why do we have to make room for someone who is a repeat sex offender?
It's so sad. Like, I don't know what was in his brain when he was doing this, but like power and greed and like desire can corrupt your brain. I do think people deserve like an apology, and he seemed to have tried to remedy the things that have happened, but like should he, that's what I'm looking for, should he be allowed back in New York Fashion Week? I don't think so. I mean, there's been serious allegations. It's been like 11 people who have been queer, who have been men, who have been trans, who have been telling everyone, hey, he has done unsolicited advances upon me, and yet now he's being welcomed back for like the second, third, fourth time even, as if nothing has happened. And I think it's just like, it's a trend in the industry. Like, we're excusing any toxic behavior, we're just letting anyone get away with anything in the name of fashion. It's just, I do think that he needs to be given some consequences. Like, you can't just enter without no consequences. Like, you need to have a bit more accountability. You need to be watched by maybe a superior manager, making sure you're not perpetuating sweatshop conditions, that you're not groping people, that you're not being a crude human being. Like, we need something that is watching him so that we know that he's not repeating his past, you know? But I don't think that fashion needs to inherently support redemption arcs. Like, we're not in a storyline here. We're not creating a plot. We're not creating a movie. Like, we don't need a redemption arc from this guy. Like, there's, like the TikToker was saying, there's so many other people that want a spot. They want a chance. They want to be a designer. New York Fashion Week, of all fashion weeks, you know? So I don't think that we need to prioritize harmful men, no matter if they're Asian or not. Like, it doesn't matter what race you are. Like, you don't deserve a redemption arc or redemption in general. If we can give a spot to someone else that has proven talent and proven ethics and sustainability, like, he doesn't need to have a spot anymore. So for him to continue to have a spot just shows that he has a lot of power, a lot of connections, years and years and years within the industry. And I don't think the fashion industry is that progressive. It's not that innovative. It's not that inclusive. It's not protective of anyone if they're letting him back in. I don't care how good his collections are or who he is. Like, if you've assaulted people without their consent, what is wrong with you? Go to therapy, go into some mental programs, because something is not right in your head. It's not right that he's being let in. And most people are not talking about it anymore. There was a lot of anger, especially in 2022, but now it's pretty silent. I wonder why. This one says, is Alexander Wang playing up on his Asianness for redemption? Interesting.
Okay, I have this theory that Alexander Wang is really playing up his Asianness in order to contribute to his redemption story. So hear me out on this one. So last year, multiple people, I believe 11 individuals, came out to accuse Alexander Wang of sexual assault. He initially denied the claims, and he called them false, fabricated, and mostly anonymous accusations, and he also said that they were baseless. He later changed his tune and said that he's listened carefully to what they had to say and that he regretted.
First, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. The second time around, he's like, dang, I'm really caught here. So let me actually be like, oh, I care, and I talked to them, and it's okay now. Bro, he took a little pivot there because he couldn't get himself out of the problem, huh? Very interesting.
Acting in a way that caused them pain, and he said that now that he knows better, he will do better. So flash forward to this year, and he's announced his first runway show since those allegations. It's called Fortune City, and it'll take place in LA Chinatown, and he advertised it with a fortune cookie. So the show is a multi-layered event and runway show which celebrates Asian American culture, food, and music, and it's in support of the Los Angeles Chinatown Corporation's maintenance and to preserve the historic Chinatown Central Plaza. But this isn't the only thing that Alex has done to play into his Asian heritage since those allegations. He released this, I have to say, iconic campaign with Lucy Liu. I mean, it's just so good. He also had this Chinatown Forever initiative.
Wait. Is she in support of him or not? Because she just said, oh, I love his campaign, but let me still criticize him. Okay, let's listen. Madeline, your logic is not adding up right now because you just said you loved his campaign, but let's continue.
Last year, which was in support of Chinatown businesses in New York City. He made a shoe with a hidden dragon. I don't even know what this is. He produced or made some sort of film called Sisters. And of course, he's spoken out on Asian hate. And the brand spoke about Asian Heritage Month, which I don't think they had done before. What I find super interesting about this is it seems like he's really capitalizing on his Asianness amid Stop Asian Hate and this movement to support Asians. And it's as if he plays into that, it'll make his past actions forgettable, or people will be more inclined to support him because he is supporting the Asian community. And it's not that he didn't play up or talk about his Asianness before, it just seems way more prominent now. Even if you go through the brand's Instagram feed, there are way more Asian models than there used to be. Anyways, let me know your thought. Again, this is just a theory. I might be totally off, but I just find it super interesting.
I think she likes the designer, but just is wary of what happened given the sexual assault claims, and maybe is kind of grappling with what to do or what to think given he's using maybe the Asian culture to redeem himself. But I think he's using any excuse to get rid of accountability. We need this man to take some accountability because he's going to do whatever it takes to, like, get a spot in New York Fashion Week, which he has attained. Like, no one is talking about him anymore, and I think that's a dream come true for him. No one is talking about the sexual assault. But a lot of comments here on Pause Online were saying growing and evolving means maturing. Not being a rapist isn't something we should applaud as growth. Get him out of here and consider it one less contribution to the overproduction crisis. Okay, the last part did not make no sense, but it says it should be up to the consumers to decide whether or not he can make a comeback. They just have to stop buying his products, and it's up to the media not to talk about him so they don't give him free publicity. Someone says he sexually assaulted and drugged people. You know who else did that? Cosby, Diddy, etc. So nah, he ain't back. Someone said, surprise, surprise. Yeah, I mean, the fashion industry in general is a very worrisome industry, and that's why I'm okay not working in it, because it's just filled with a lot of interesting characters that only care about fueling their ego and materialism and superficiality. And that's why I was really embarrassed to be considered a fashion major when I was in college. But I've discovered that fashion can actually be very empowering. It's just we have to stray away from these sort of designers and from fast fashion to get to something more holistic, more healing, more ethical, and more sustainable. But until we get rid of people like this, no matter if they're Asian or not, we're not going to get anywhere better. So if you support Alexander Wang, you have to really consider your ethics and your values and your internal system, because that man should not be allowed to take a spot that could have been given to someone else that's ethical, or at least a decent person that has talent. I don't know why you'd be touching on people. No one wants to be raped. Like, what the hell is wrong with him? So yeah, I'm not going to support him. It's so unnecessary. There's so many other designers that we can support. So we're going to move on to Klarna. They have recently partnered with Poshmark, which is scary news, because Klarna, if you don't know, is it's a service where you can basically pay things in small amounts. So let's say you have something that you owe that's $100. It gives you the option to pay in like smaller payments, so like $20 now and then $20 like a month later, sort of like a mini credit card. But now they've partnered with Poshmark, so you can buy stuff and then pay it later, basically.
Klarna users can now list past purchases on Poshmark. Dive brief. Klarna users can now list past purchases directly on Poshmark, automatically populating the item details and images, Klarna announced Tuesday. First-time listers will receive a $10 credit from Poshmark when using the Klarna feature, the company said. The companies described the joint initiative as contributing to the growing circular economy, especially ahead of the back-to-school season. Dive insight. This back-to-school season, shoppers are most worried about price hikes, according to a recent ICSC survey. To cope, shoppers are turning to alternative buying opportunities. For some, resale may emerge as an attractive option. A recent Poshmark survey found that 90% of users feel its resale feature saved them time. Over 3/4 of respondents said the feature inspires them to resell something they otherwise wouldn't have. The back-to-school season is the perfect time for refreshing wardrobes, and we're thrilled to team up with Klarna to make that easier and more sustainable than ever, Poshmark CEO and founder Manish Chandra said in a statement. This partnership isn't just about convenience. It's about making it incredibly simple and fun to shop the largest network of closets across America, all while empowering individuals to earn from their style. Circularity in fashion has become mainstream, according to the 2025 Circular Fashion Index from Kearney. Over 70% of brands scored moderate for their circularity efforts, the report found. However, progress is the slowest in the resale, repair, and rental categories. A recent ThreadUp report also found that resale's popularity in the U.S. could offer a hedge against tariffs. In the U.S., the second-hand apparel market grew 5 times faster than the broader retail clothing market last year.
I feel like this is a great perk for those that are constantly buying things and kind of get tired of it, and that way they can, keep making more sales. It's just, I feel like it feeds into over consumerism. And the part where it says automatically populating the item details and images, I don't know. It's just, is it using the original brand's images? I think that would be like plagiarism. So I wonder how that actually looks like. And to incentivize them as well, it just is another like finicky thing on my mind. Like, is this just pushing out more stuff for us to consume and incentivizing people that get bored of their things quickly to continue buying and somehow make not only money but also like a sense of normality? Like, oh yeah, this is something we should be doing because Klarna supports it. No, it doesn't sit right with me. Okay, let's see if we can see anything here. The only thing that I see now that I look through YouTube is this like random news bit. Again, YouTube, why does YouTube have nothing? Everyone hates on TikTok. I do not want to see TikTok go. I don't want to see TikTok leave. They're gonna vote on it in September, and I'm so scared if it leaves. Okay, so she's just talking about the news. Does anyone have any hot takes? Be aware of Klarna.
Beware of Klarna.
Klarna for a big purchase, like say for instance spread over 12 or 6 months, do not do it. So last year we were renovating and we bought some nice radiators and we were like,
I don't understand your accent. Okay, so no one is really talking about it, but I do have some key points that I want to touch on before I move on. But I do think it's scary how Klarna is trying to get more Gen Zers to promote like relisting of clothing that they've bought in the past. And maybe they want to get rid of it because they're bored of it, because it's out of style, the habit of like constantly buying. But there is a lot of rising debt from Gen Zers, so it can be a perk for them to get more money from their past purchases. But I feel like it just promotes more of a sense of like we have to constantly be pushing out items. Like I constantly have to be buying items so I can be selling them. There's nothing wrong with reselling, obviously, but like I always say, if you're gonna buy something, like try to like love it, try to hold on to it, try to like see how you can mix it with other outfits. So I don't think this is really a holistic solution for sustainable fashion, and I don't think it's creating intentional consumerism. And Klarna has been associated with the buy now pay later system that keeps people in cycles of debt because they can never really pay things off because they don't even got the money in the first place. So I do think the $10 incentive can be worrisome to think about because it can just encourage people to like easily integrate this in their daily life to get that small credit. And then I just feel like it's gonna create more of a, oh, let me buy to sell, let me buy, in the principle of sustainable fashion and the principle of like, oh, I'm doing something good when you're really not. So I would hate for this to create like more harmful churning of fast fashion onto the platform. Um, and yeah, I do think that Klarna is now trying to get more into like a lifestyle feature, especially because they've been so negatively associated with like perpetuating debt that I think this transition of like helping users put past purchases on Poshmark is like a shift in how they're known and become more of like a positive lifestyle choice for Gen Zers. So I do think it's a strategic branding move and trying to get more people that otherwise wouldn't use their services. Um, but yeah, I don't think this is empowering. I don't think we need this necessarily. I feel like we all have the liberty to put any past purchases onto Poshmark. So I don't know what exactly this will look like that makes it so powerful or so different or like so empowering when we ourselves are the ones that have been putting past purchases on Poshmark. We often source images ourselves. We often look for the details ourselves. So this kind of sounds like an integrated software of some sort, some integrated system that helps the user somehow find the photos, find the listings. I don't really know how it functions internally, and they haven't really clarified either. But supposedly, it's going to help them in the back to school shopping season. So I'm assuming that they think they're going to make a lot of money from integrating their services onto Poshmark. But yeah, I do worry about us staying in cycles of like debt and like consumption. My recommendation is always to buy from your own closet. I think we have enough stuff already in our own closet. It's just that temptation of buying is always there. I'm an avid shopper, but I already own everything I can possibly need. So it's a habit of mine to be like, oh, let me go to the thrift store when that habit should be broken. It's just I'm human, right? And like I can't stop myself because I love fashion. I love thrift stores. So it's just so hard. I get it when you want to go shopping and you shouldn't, but it's like, oh, I want to. But it's just we can incur so much debt. We can buy stuff that we don't need just in the name of shopping and boredom and lack of restraint. So yeah, I want to see Poshmark take on more sustainability efforts though. Like they can do so much more powerful initiatives. I don't think they had a partner with Klarna, to be honest. I don't think this is really a beneficial thing. But until I see the full picture, I can be like, okay, like this is super harmful. But from what I see now, it's not really boosting the Poshmark resellers' advances in like selling stuff. Like I think it's just another add-on to what resellers and like people that put stuff on Poshmark casually are already doing. Like we don't need another middleman. Like I don't see this being a revolutionary tool. So Klarna has a lot to benefit. I don't know how Poshmark benefits from having this on their site either, but I think Klarna is the one that's like really trying to like move away from this negative appeal of like, oh, we're just perpetuating debt. Because if you go on YouTube, everyone is talking about Klarna like it's the ultimate evil tool ever, especially because they recently partnered with DoorDash. So like you can make your DoorDash orders be paid in payments, like in small payments. And a lot of people were so against it. But we should watch this one. This is a very interesting YouTuber. Her YouTube name is Social Simon, and she's all about like financial literacy, and she's a great YouTuber. So let's watch this, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Ad blocker. Ad blocker. It says here, if you're disciplined and you can work, if you abuse it, then it's an issue. I feel like we shouldn't entirely blame Klarna, but Klarna does have a lot to do with like getting people into debt, and she explores that. So let's take a look.
people are saying that they want to cancel Klarna, Afterpay, and Affirm, all buy now, pay later options in 2025. Let's see what people are saying online.
We have got to stop using Klarna, Afterpay, and Affirm for every purchase we make. Since when did that become so normalized? I literally just Klarna'd something that was $80. And I'm sorry, but if I don't have $80 to pay up in full, maybe I just don't need it. It's not an essential. I just feel like using those type of services are so normalized, especially if you're in your early 20s. And if it's not for a necessity, I'm sorry, but it's not normal.
Yeah.
So for 2025, I want to pay off all of my debt I have when it comes to those because yes, you accumulate this huge number and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened?
And you know they love when people accumulate these high debts on Klarna and Afterpay. Why would they not? They're able to get interest payments off of people. And it keeps you in a debt cycle, constantly having to owe these people all this money. I keep telling people these companies are not your friends. This is a business and they are here to make money off of the fact that some of y'all, because I know some of y'all say, oh, I'm going to pay it off on time. Some of y'all ain't going to do it and you're going to owe money. They want you to fall on a hard time or have an emergency that you didn't know was finna happen. So then they can hit you with those penalties. SYMONE, trying to keep you out of debt. Hit subscribe, touch the screen.
A video on Klarna and Affirm is going viral again, so let's talk about this. This person's comment is exactly what I'm referring to. And I'm bringing this up because I've personally been through it. And I know that...
Oh, okay, it says, I had 7 Afterpays at once. Oh, I was paying almost $400 a month in payments. I was using it for big purchases, but I had the cash. So just paid them off. It was a stressful thing having them. Wait a minute. So why'd you use it?
I made on Klarna and Affirm. But that's exactly why I want to highlight this. Been through it. And I know the mistakes I made on Klarna and Affirm, but that's exactly why I want to highlight this issue because people don't understand how bad it can get. Like 100%, this is a discipline issue at the end of the day. Yes, you should have like the self-discipline not to buy something that you know you can't afford. But the way that these companies work is that they trick you psychologically. So they say you want to buy something that's $700 and you're like, I don't have $700 right now. So I'm going to choose their option to split it up into monthly payments for 12 months.
Right.
And usually monthly payments for 12 months for $700 purchase be $58 straight if you were just paying that. However, because then they add an interest, say it's maybe $70 a month. Now, if you were just doing that one purchase for $70 a month, honestly, that's not too bad. But then that's where the issue comes in, where people start thinking, okay, I only have a $70 purchase. I don't have to worry about that. Oh, I want to buy this other $300 thing. Oh, I want to buy this $500 plane ticket. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. It's only this amount. However, all of those little things add up. That's what my video was about.
I think this kind of gets to the root of like why Klarna is so villainized, because they want to blame like Klarna for like what's going on financially, but again, it's like a dual thing of like it's the consumer's choice to like buy, and then Klarna is a tool that can be used to make those small payments. And I feel like that's why I think that Klarna is going to Poshmark and almost giving a different option to their services, so they're more integrated in like quote unquote your normal life versus just being like a payment plan method, and to move away from this like villainized narrative that they have going on. So I think it's a very strategic move. I don't really think Klarna cares about sustainable fashion, to be honest. I do think that they recognize sustainable fashion can be very profitable within the resale space, and maybe they have some connections with Poshmark. But I do wonder, at the end of the day, like, how does Poshmark see this benefiting the sustainable fashion movement? How do they see consumers really benefiting from this in the long run? That's yet to come. But for now, this is like all we really have to work off of. So I'll continue covering this. But very interesting move by Klarna to like make themselves out more so of a lifestyle brand than just like a service that make people go into debt. But to move on, I do want to talk about how Brandy Melville is actually creating a lawsuit against Temu. They recently did a similar lawsuit against Shein for this very same reason. So let's get into it. This is an article by Fashion Law. So let's get this read by the AI robots. I don't even know what tool is used to read this. Read out loud section.
On the heels of filing suit against Shein for allegedly offering up knockoff apparel, Brandy Melville is taking on Temu. The popular fashion label's corporate entities, Bastia USA Incorporated and YYGMSA, collectively, Brandy Melville, have filed a federal lawsuit accusing Temu of systematically trading on Brandy Melville's name and designs. In a newly filed complaint, Brandy Melville alleges that Temu's business model hinges on selling counterfeit versions of its apparel, often promoted using the brand's own product images, while positioning itself as a neutral e-commerce marketplace. According to the complaint, which was filed on July 21st in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey, Temu is offering copycat wares that infringe both trademark and copyright-protected elements. For example, Brandy Melville contends that Temu has willfully infringed its rights in the Brandy Heartsuit Melville, Chill Since, and Radio Silence trademarks. At the same time, the teen-favored brand claims that Temu is offering apparel that replicates its copyright-protected iFabric design. Searches on Temu for Brandy Melville or brand-specific phrases such as Chill Since allegedly lead directly to unauthorized knockoffs, with some product listings featuring images identical to those on Brandy Melville's official website. This, the brand argues, amounts to a bait-and-switch scheme that confuses consumers and dilutes its hard-earned reputation. In many cases, customers believe they are buying authentic Brandy Melville items, only to receive lower-quality imitations that bear little resemblance to the advertised product. The marketplace, that isn't. More compelling than the infringement claims themselves are Brandy Melville's arguments about Temu's marketplace model. In its complaint, Brandy Melville asserts that Temu exercises control over its so-called independent sellers as to almost every aspect of its marketplace. This framing appears aimed at getting ahead of one of Temu's likely defenses, that it is merely a neutral platform and, therefore, not liable for infringement. Like Amazon and other large e-commerce players, Temu frequently portrays itself as a digital mall that simply connects independent sellers with consumers. Such a distinction can significantly limit a platform's liability for intellectual property violations, as courts have often been reluctant to hold marketplaces responsible for the actions of third-party merchants. The complaint references similar claims in Shine's ongoing suit against Temu, which portrays Temu as a platform that encourages infringement while presenting itself as a passive intermediary. Specifically, Brandy Melville points to Shine's allegations that Temu masquerades as a legitimate e-commerce marketplace, while actually controlling its sellers' activities, from dictating product listings and pricing to encouraging infringement and even preventing sellers from removing infringing products once flagged. By alleging that Temu dictates what products can be sold, sets their prices, manages payment and logistics, and actively promotes these products through its app and social channels, the plaintiffs argue that Temu functions not as a passive platform, but as a centralized retailer that should be held liable for the infringement that occurs on its site. If the court accepts this characterization, Temu could be held directly liable for the counterfeit goods sold on its platform, not just indirectly or through contributory infringement claims. This would expose Temu to significantly higher damages, while also threatening to upend the marketplace narrative that has fueled its rapid rise in the U.S. Brandy Melville is seeking preliminary and permanent injunctions to stop Temu from selling infringing products, along with the destruction of all counterfeit inventory and related marketing materials. It is also demanding an accounting of Temu's profits derived from the alleged counterfeits. The bottom line: the case may test whether Temu can continue to operate under the marketplace label while allegedly curating, pricing, and promoting goods that mimic one of fashion's most recognizable names.
Fast fashion is always doing the most to not take any accountability. Now this is a new one, pretending to be a marketplace so you don't take any responsibility over what's happening, even though you have direct control over everything. Interesting. Very interesting. I would love to be a fashion lawyer. Like, if I could go to school, I always say this, I would love to be a fashion lawyer, because this stuff is what I constantly think about. It's a challenge mentally, and there's so many loopholes that other brands can take to get themselves out of accountability. And I'm always talking about laws and policies, which are so needed, because this is just a prime example of, like, brands are willing to say anything to get away with everything. Oh my god. Oh, hello, a little wave. Thank you. I always read the name Enough, even though it's like the ENUF. I always like think about enough, like the word, like enough. We've had enough. That's what I've always been talking about in this live stream. I've had enough of all this stuff. Oh my gosh, but hello if you're coming into the live stream. Appreciate it. I'm always just angry about what's going on with the industry, but I mean, with due reason, like these brands just be up to no good all the time. But I do have some thoughts. I do think Temu should take accountability for what they're doing. I don't really think that they're a marketplace, like they're looting, where they have no control. Like, I think it's all very strategic, whether they want to admit that or not. And I think it's just their own way of like dodging accountability. It's like a way to profit off of like stolen images, basically stolen IP. So yeah, I don't think this is just a legal issue. I think it's more like a ethical crisis, because their whole business relies on mass producing like those cheap knockoffs that include Brandy Melville's very fast fashion clothing. It relies on taking original designs from other brands. It relies on underpaid invisible labor that they are not tracing back to in any way, because they subcontract everything. I think that this lawsuit could actually do a lot of good for setting an example. So like for context, a lot of times brands, they're not forced into taking action, and I do feel like if Temu is discovered to be a centralized brand instead of a marketplace, it could really help everyone else recognize Temu as a villainous like robber. Basically, it can help them become seen in a more negative light, like Shein is, because sometimes we like put all our eggs in the basket with Temu. Like we villainize, we villainize Shein. Like we put all our eggs in the basket with Shein. We're like, Shein is bad, Shein is bad, Shein is bad, and we all know Temu is bad. But once we have a lawsuit that proves that they're bad, that can just escalate more awareness and make us a little bit more hesitant to buy from them. It's just sometimes all I see is like, oh, we hate Shein, but like Temu is not attacked that much. We all just say, oh, that's just a place with the random like cheap stuff, and that's really it. That's all I've seen personally, on my little corner of the internet. But yeah, I think it could also like chip away from like marketplaces. I do think marketplaces are needed, but if we villainize like that concept of the marketplace and the fashion industry, it could like avoid maybe these issues. I know though that like a lot of consumers are not thinking, oh my god, let's hate marketplaces because they allow for copies of other brand stuff. But Temu has been using this framing, and I think we have to villainize their framing to get somewhere, because if they just say random stuff and no one like hates on it, then it's just gonna continue to be used and normalized, and then we're just gonna be like, oh, they're just a marketplace, they're not that bad, they don't have control over it. So the more that we understand how they think and go against it, the better we're gonna be in the long run with improving the fashion industry. But yeah, key takeaway here is like, let's not support Temu, obviously. Let's not support Shein, obviously. But I don't think this is a justification to support Brandy Melville either ways, because they're still fast fashion. It's like a fast fashion rival against another rival. Like, which one is the biggest rival? I don't really know. Maybe it's Temu, given how they've advanced so much within these given years. But it's not an excuse to support Brandy Melville just because they're the smaller brand. And I think we should just be wary about accepting that fast fashion brands are quote unquote like the middlemen. They should take accountability. They're the ones in charge. They're the strategic people here. So they're actively destroying so many people's livelihoods, the planet's livelihood, and yet they don't want to take no responsibility over what they're doing. They just want to be so complacent and be like, we have nothing to do here. We just sell spots basically in our marketplace. That's not what you're doing though. Oh my gosh. And they're making billions just pretending there's something that they're not. It's almost like when Shein's like, oh, I'm not a fast fashion brand, I'm a on-demand brand. Like, who are you lying to? Everyone, be real here. Say something that's true. But I do want to see how this plays out. Brandy Melville is chasing Shein and Temu for using their images, for saying things that are not true about the brands. So we'll see how it goes. I do wonder who is behind the lawsuit for Brandy Melville. They really do know what is happening. That's for sure. If they already have a recognition of like how Temu is going to retaliate. So very, very curious who is behind all of this. I wish this was public access information, to be honest. As I studied apparel merchandising in college and loved fashion throughout my whole life, no one really introduced me to fashion law, and I don't think it's a common topic within the study of fashion. But like fashion designers are under a lot of legal duress once their designs are copied. So I think it's just better for us to be informed how fashion law works and how to protect ourselves. But it's not really a common thing to be discussed, you know? Like most of us don't go around talking about fashion law or learning about fashion law. It's just not a normalized thing, basically. And I wish it was different, so we're more protected as small designers, as small fashion brands, and just as like fashion lovers in general. Like this is a needed thing. Let's see what we can find. But again, like YouTube is just notorious and like not really covering stuff on the news that are important. They just cover fashion weeks. They just cover fashion designers, but they don't really talk about the internal systems of the industry, like this lawsuit. So, it's a shame. We need better journalism in general as well. There's a lot of stuff to fix. I want to watch a video. I just want to watch a video. YouTube, can you just cover something that's worthwhile to watch? I don't want to brain rot my head away. Temu hit with a lawsuit. Okay, Temu and Brandy Melville. Where is you? This is not a real news bit. This is AI. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's see. I do want to know who the lawyers are for Brandy Melville. I want to ask them a lot of questions. Okay, let's see. Yeah, no one is really covering this on YouTube. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Wait, what happened to my screen? Wait, how do I get out of here? Okay. I'm so millennial coded sometimes. Do I even know how to use a computer? Okay, let's Google it, and if I don't see anything else, I'll move on. Especially since I already gave my key thoughts. Piss. Oh wait, okay, Fashion United covered it. Wait, is it behind a paywall? Jesus Christ. No, I don't want it to be behind a paywall. How will we ever learn? Sourcing journal. Okay. I wonder when this will all take place. That's for sure. Because if I'm going to talk about something, we should have like an idea of like when things are going to get figured out. When should it get figured out? I also wonder like where do these court proceedings happen? This isn't public information, and it's a shame because we deserve better from all these brands. Let's see. It doesn't explain. So for the sake of time, I'm going to move on. I can't find any useful information for the general consumer that's worried about the industry. So let's stay uninformed, I guess, and like move on because no one is telling us jack shit. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about how the Re-commerce Caucus has launched in the U.S. Congress. Yeehaw, America is great again, apparently. Why is there so many caucuses? There's like the Slow Fashion Caucus, now there's the Re-commerce Caucus. Like, how many caucuses do we need to like make something happen in the industry? Because I'm kind of tired of all these caucuses and nothing changes.
Recommerce Caucus launched in U.S. Congress. Dive brief. The Recommerce Caucus, aimed at championing legislation and initiatives that prioritize the buying and selling of pre-owned, refurbished and second-hand goods, launched last month. The caucus, spearheaded by U.S. Representatives Nicole Maliotakis, RNY, and Sidney Kamlager-Dove, D. Caliph, is endorsed by online platforms including eBay, Depop, Etsy, Mercari, OfferUp, Pinterest and Poshmark. The caucus aims to prioritize empowering small sellers, expanding digital access, and strengthening sustainability, per the release. The recommerce sector is projected to reach $1.04 trillion globally by 2035, and this caucus will work to support initiatives that extend product life cycles, cut down on landfill waste, and encourage environmentally responsible commerce, per the release. Dive Insight. The Bipartisan Recommerce Caucus is designed to advocate for policies that help individuals and small businesses earn income through resale, repair and refurbishment on digital platforms, according to the press release. The group also wants to reduce participation barriers to online platforms and promote digital access, so all Americans can fully benefit from recommerce's economic potential. Ashley Shillingsburg, head of America's government relations at eBay, said the caucus will directly benefit not only platforms, but individual consumers. By aligning public policy with the realities of modern commerce, the caucus has the potential to unlock new opportunities for online platforms and deliver meaningful benefits to consumers nationwide, Shillingsburg said in an email. According to ThredUp's 2025 resale report, the U.S. secondhand apparel market grew 5 times faster than the overall retail clothing market last year, and it's expected to reach a $74 billion valuation by 2029. Kathy Moscardini, head of sustainability at Depop, said the new group will facilitate access to that revenue stream. The Recommerce Caucus can help mainstream circular practices, drive economic opportunity for small businesses and individual entrepreneurs championing the circular economy, Moscardini said in an email. At a time when consumers are prioritizing affordability, it can also mean greater access to desirable, secondhand fashion, making it easier and more attractive to buy and sell across the circular economy. Some coalition members stressed the importance of prioritizing and engaging with small sellers in future policy decisions, particularly when it comes to ensuring digital access to platforms that facilitate buying and selling refurbished and secondhand goods. We're aligned on being good actors in this space and really championing the concept of recommerce in a responsible way, Nathan Garnett, Chief Business Officer at OfferUp, said. Buyers and sellers might be interested in remaining in their community. For example, children's clothes. If your kids grow out of them, you might like having somebody down the street who has a child a year or two younger than yours, and you can exchange clothing that way. It can be local. The Recommerce Caucus has also received endorsements from member organizations including American Circular Textiles, a group of fashion industry leaders advocating for policy solutions to promote textile and garment sustainability, and the Coalition to Protect Small Sellers, PASS Coalition, a group of third-party e-commerce marketplaces that enable individual buyers and sellers to exchange goods. Our mission as an organization is to target policies at the state and federal level that are supportive of the circular economy in the United States specifically, Rachel Kibb, founder and CEO of American Circular Textiles, said. And so whether that is enabling consumers to more easily participate in buying and selling on used clothing platforms or making it more cost-effective to stand up these businesses and run them and grow them and be prosperous, that's our goal.
Again, there is already a slow fashion caucus. Why do we need a Recommerce Caucus? Can't they like work together, especially if this is like a bipartisan effort? We don't need like 500 caucuses when we can just have one that actually does something. Wait, why is my screen so zoomed out? Oh my god, I am not a millennial. Oh, I fixed it. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. There you go, I fixed it. I'm so proud of fixing something. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I was pissed. No, I'm supposed to be pissed. We don't need so many caucuses. Oh, I forgot I was mad for a second. I can't retain my anger, if you guys notice. I think that's the key of my optimism. I just cannot stay angry. I just forget about it. Maybe it's trauma. maybe it's Maybelline. I'm kidding. That was a bad joke. Okay. Yeah, I genuinely forgot I was pissed for a second. Okay, let's see. I don't see anything for the Recommerce Caucus. Great. Great marketing, people. How am I supposed to be informed? Give me something to work with here. Oh, I feel like every live stream I'm just begging TikTok or like wherever to like actually cover the news. Cover what's important in the industry, okay? Maybe in the future I'll launch
And
my
if I
own
say the concept,
I will own my own fashion, my sustainable fashion media company. We just dedicate ourselves to making videos on the news. That is important and needed because everything else is just lacking. It's lacking in initiative and drive and ambition. We need good journalism. I will say it now and I'll say it until I'm dead. We need good journalism. See, what is the Re-commerce Caucus? People, I don't know what I'm looking at. Fashion Dive, though, beautiful organization. They always be covering the best news. So Fashion Dive does a great job, but like we need more nuance. Like we need more people talking about stuff, on a visual level. I can look at the PR statement though. Oh my god, there is no pictures. This was released though June 25, 2025, and it says Camlager Dove Melitokasis. I don't know how to say this word. Launched the Re-commerce Caucus to power America's secondhand economy. I don't know where I saw South from. Let's listen. Let's listen to the press release.
EW Bipartisan Caucus to champion the U.S. small businesses and entrepreneurs driving the growing re-commerce economy. Washington, D.C. today, Congresswomen Sydney Candler-Dove, D.C.A.
Welcome to my life. Welcome to my life. Welcome. Oh, I'm coming back. Oh. Okay, let's continue.
As a lifelong thrifter and advocate for sustainable business practices, I'm proud to partner with Representative Malliotakis to launch the Bipartisan Re-commerce Caucus, said Representative Candler-Dove. Re-commerce is more than a trend. It's a growing economic engine that provides consumers with affordable, high-quality goods and gives entrepreneurs, small businesses, and resellers access to trusted, thriving marketplaces. Together, we're committed to advancing policies that support the circular economy, reduce waste, and empower buyers and sellers nationwide. As more Americans turn to resold, refurbished, and repaired items, I'm joining my colleague, Representative Sydney Candler-Dove, in launching the Bipartisan Re-commerce Caucus. We support the efforts of leading industry platforms to create trusted spaces for buying and selling in the growing secondhand economy, said Representative Malliotakis. Supporting the growth of the re-commerce market will help create new economic opportunities and benefit American small businesses and entrepreneurs. As the pioneer of online re-commerce, we believe re-commerce is about more than transactions. It's about connection, sustainability, and unlocking economic opportunity. At eBay, we're proud to support the formation of the new Re-commerce Caucus and look forward to working with Congress to highlight how re-commerce empowers small businesses, entrepreneurs, and enthusiasts in communities across the country, said Jamie Iannone, President and CEO of eBay Incorporated. Poshmark is proud to support the Re-commerce Caucus, an initiative that aligns perfectly with our mission of putting people at the heart of commerce, empowering everyone to thrive. As a member of the PASS Coalition, we understand the positive impact policy can have on the secondhand market, and we look forward to collaborating with the caucus to champion policies that support innovation and growth of entrepreneurship across the country, said Manish Chandra, founder and CEO of Poshmark. Etsy believes in the power of conscious consumerism and empowering small businesses and micro-entrepreneurs. The Re-commerce Caucus is a shining example of how, by embracing the circular economy, we can champion a more sustainable future and create meaningful economic opportunities for sellers nationwide, said Chelsea Mosen, Senior Director of Impact and Sustainability at Etsy. The Re-commerce Caucus supports Depop's mission to make fashion circular. For us, this is about extending the life of clothes, empowering a new generation of creative entrepreneurs, and connecting a global community that's reshaping fashion. By advocating for policies that grow resale culture, we're not only making desirable secondhand fashion more accessible, we're also unlocking economic opportunities for individuals and small businesses. Together, we're shaping a more sustainable future where everyone can discover and express their style through circular fashion, said Peter Semple, interim CEO at Depop.
Depop, Poshmark, eBay, Etsy. This is a very corporate, big business vibes. Major resale companies are making moves. I wonder how much they had to do with making this caucus, because they can make a lot of money if they're within the governmental system. Interesting.
American Circular Textiles applauds Representatives Kamla Jerdov and Maliatakis for launching the bipartisan Re-commerce Caucus. For too long, resale, repair, and reuse have been sidelined in policy conversations, despite their critical role in reducing waste, creating jobs, and giving everyday Americans the chance to participate in the circular economy. This caucus reflects a long overdue recognition of the entrepreneurial power and environmental impact of re-commerce. At a time when consumers are price-sensitive and seeking more affordable, sustainable options, re-commerce offers critical access not only to income, but to quality goods at lower costs. We look forward to working with the caucus to support national policies and build domestic infrastructure that supports reuse at scale, from digital marketplaces facilitating global trade to local repair and resale hubs, to ensure the United States leads in circular innovation, said.
Oh my gosh, this is a PR read. Okay, let's look at this and then we'll do some thinking about what this can mean overall. But they be yapping about random stuff. I don't care about the PR stuff. I actually want to know what you're working towards.
The Re-commerce Caucus is committed to empowering small sellers and entrepreneurs by advocating for policies that help individuals and small businesses earn income through resale, repair, and refurbishment on digital platforms. Promoting a sustainable, circular economy by supporting initiatives that extend product life cycles, cut down on landfill waste, and encourage environmentally responsible commerce. Ensuring access to digital marketplaces by reducing participation barriers and promoting digital access so all Americans can fully benefit from re-commerce economic potential. The caucus is endorsed by a growing coalition of leading platforms and advocates, including eBay, Etsy, Mercury, OfferUp, Pinterest, Poshmark, Redbubble, and the Pass Coalition.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. We could have watched this in a video, though. This is Congresswoman from California's 37th District. Does she have anything on her YouTube videos?
Oh, hey, you're new here, right? Allow me to reintroduce myself.
So this is she. Tell us something about the Re-commerce Caucus, please, lady. I want to hear your words on it. Nothing. Okay. Well, that's what she looks like. Congresswoman in California. Well, that's good to know. I do have some thoughts, like I was saying before. I lost track of finding something on YouTube to watch on this. So many tabs. All of these tabs. Okay, so some key takeaways that I think we should kind of think about is maybe we should be wary about all these re-commerce businesses coming together. I feel like they have a lot of money to make from being involved in this caucus. I mean, if you're one of the leading resale businesses connected to a Re-commerce Caucus in the U.S. Congress, your name means something and more people will trust you. You're seen to actually care. So I would just be wary though. especially when they can make so much money, and often money can corrupt your morals and stuff. So I do think though the challenge here is like how are they actually going to be like prioritizing small sellers, especially when there's these major like basically tech companies profiting from resale. So yeah, like I want some like more practical ideas of like how they're going to either protect sellers, how they're going to support sellers, small sellers to be specific. How are they going to support and uplift small sellers? Are they going to give some like funds to those using Depop or eBay or all those other sites? Like, I do want resale and like re-commerce to be like a people-powered initiative and not like a tech-powered initiative. I don't want it to be another business pursuit, but again, I come from like more of an anti-capitalistic perspective where I want the money to go to the people. I want our system to be run by people, not by greedy corporations and greedy politicians that don't really represent people's interests. So when I think about re-commerce as well, I kind of think about the online world, digital spaces. It's notorious to like go on Depop and use our app. Basically, we have to have a cell phone. We have to have internet. We need to know like Western brands, basically. But not everyone has the privilege of having a phone. Not everyone has the privilege of being online. Not everyone has the privilege of having a computer or even having a stable address so things can be sent to them. So I do think that digital access is a very important conversation to have when we talk about re-commerce, because it's an essential element to it. And if we want to reach everyone and represent everyone, especially if you're a congresswoman, I do think they have to consider like how are they going to reach low income and like communities that are struggling to effectively allow them the chance as well to participate within this conversation of like re-commerce and resale and stuff. And it could also be such a great way for them to like make some more income and be able to like work themselves out of poverty basically, or have another opportunity for work that they might otherwise not have had. So yeah, addressing the struggle to be online, to have access to re-commerce could actually create more equity in the long run for the fashion industry. It could open up a lot more like real infrastructure, and improvements on a genuine basis, on an equity basis, versus just supporting major brands that are already making millions and millions through other resellers' efforts to make some money. Jasmine says, "Hi, hun. How are you doing?" I'm good. We're talking about the re-commerce caucus and some feedback. I always come through a systemic analysis perspective. I want things to change systemically. And I think a lot of brands are just making too much money from re-commerce right now. And I do think the re-commerce caucus is something that we should be wary of, especially because there's something already called the slow fashion caucus. So I'm not sure why no one is like really working together in Congress. YouTube comments. What does it say? I study fashion, but I hate eco fashion and recycle where they're so ugly. You hate eco fashion? Okay, that's fun. Someone on YouTube was like, "I hate eco fashion." I mean, everyone's style is different. Everyone has the right to choose what they want. But if you prefer to destroy the planet, that's on you. If you want to continue being part of the issue and like helping others exploit workers, that's you and your morals. I can't make you change your mind. But I basically advocate for better solutions. And it's very a cop-out answer to be like, "Oh, I just hate eco-fashion," because there can be a lot of great vintage pieces. It's just you have to open up your mind a little bit more and be less negative. What did it say? Ego fashion will like bride. What is? I don't know what that. What? Oh, I actually saw a bride wedding dress in the thrift store today, and it was like $20. And when they used to be like $100, and there's like really good quality dresses. Like you can find amazing, beautiful pieces for like literally $20. So like you don't necessarily have to go to like Depop or eBay to like find something good. You can like always go to your local thrift store, and I always advocate for that if if you need something, like go to your local thrift store, like participate in a clothing swap, or like ask your friends or your family if they have something that you could either borrow or like buy from them. You can always swap. Like there's so many creative solutions, and I feel like the Re-commerce Caucus almost centralizes issues. And I don't like how everyone is like going online to buy, but I personally resell some stuff on Depop. But I always say, like, if you can buy it locally, if you can support local, do that. It's just a lot of people don't have local thrift stores, so that's why they may go to like online resources. But unfortunately, like low income and like BIPOC communities may not even have the online world at their disposal. Like I go to my local library, and there's so many people using the computers, and they're usually applying for jobs. So it's an essential resource. So yeah, I love libraries. It's just we need so much more from the government, from Congress, from leaders to like help provide more jobs and more opportunities, especially within sustainable fashion. Do I make bride suits? Oh, I wish I was that talented. Oh, imagine. Because next month is my wedding. I will buy some bride dresses. I mean, you should experiment. Like, I always say, just try things out. Like, I consider myself a designer because I just try to, like, figure things out, design what I like. And so I feel kind of uncomfortable, like, doing stuff for others. I was actually going to become a seamstress for, like, this casino, which sounds weird. But then I decided not to, like, have the job because I just take forever with designing, and like I want to put my creativity into it. I want to experiment, and like that's why I like sell upcycled, like one of a kind, like jean jackets and like upcycled jean products, because everything comes out different and it takes me forever. So they're like truly cherished things that I like to make and like give to others at an affordable rate. But I can't ever see myself like making something specifically tailored for like one person or like to look one way. It's just not how I work personally. Okay, someone else is talking about socialism. Dude, that was like 3 live streams ago. I'm a socialist. Okay, ran. Okay, let me go back to my takeaways. But yeah, I do think we need more policy change. That's what I'm really excited to see from these caucuses. It's just I'm wary when like there's no like cohesion between different caucuses, and they can be like notorious and just like walking the walk but not like actually implementing anything. So they can like actually like introduce a law, but then nothing happens. So a lot of Republicans can like block stuff even though this is like a bipartisan effort. So like we need Republicans and like Democrats to like care about this issue. Like if we only have Democrats per se like pushing it forward, but it gets blocked by others, and we just kind of stand still basically in our efforts. So I do wonder how they're going to get like Republicans on board to like support, you know, small sellers, not just like the Depops, the eBay, you know. But yeah, I personally have made money from Depop. I personally support Depop. I started off on eBay though, but eBay has a lot of fees, and they put a limit, like a cap on how much you can upload on there, and it's so tedious. It's so tedious, but it's the OG. That's where I started. But yeah, I'm just curious though too, like how they're gonna make this more offline, because they're making it seem like the only effort we have, or the only way we can have for e-commerce, is like going through these major like businesses. So yeah, there's just a lot of questions, and like when there's no like YouTube videos explaining this, when it's all like almost hidden behind like vague writing. Oh my god, my voice is leaving. I've been up since like 6 o'clock just yapping. So my voice is kind of leaving. It's literally been like 13 hours of me talking all day. I had an interview, I was doing other stuff. I was talking to my family, and then I went on live stream. So it's been like 13 hours of me yapping. So this may actually be like one of the last news articles that I talk about. But yeah, there's just a lot of questions to be explored. But when there's like very vague wording and information, they can get away with a lot of like nasty procedures that only benefit more businesses and like profit driven goals. So Well, I'll keep track of this, but I'm also wary how bipartisan this truly is. But I'm always wary of like both Democrats and Republicans because they can be one and the same, you know? Okay, I think I'm gonna jump off after these Temu articles that recently popped up, and then I'm gonna jump off. Yeah. Okay, so someone else commented, "What's my skincare routine? Your skin is glowing." I don't even know. I think it's the lighting. I appreciate it. I was saying the other day I kind of hate doing my makeup. I feel like it's Pond's maybe. I have it right here. I use this. I don't know how ethical or sustainable this moisturizing cream is, but I've always used this my whole life since I was like 18. So Pond's cream. Maybe that's it. I have no idea. I don't even drink water and I don't have a good meal plan. But maybe it's like spending time with family, like that's what makes me happy. So I feel like that has to do something with it. But yeah, let's look into this Temu allegation, which is not surprising. But basically, EU accuses online giant Temu over sale of illegal products. Why am I not surprised? I feel like the EU has it out for Temu. They do not like Temu. This article is by, let's see, AFP. AFP. AI robot, please read.
The European Union accused Chinese-founded online shopping giant Temu on Monday of breaking the bloc's digital rules by not properly assessing the risks of illegal products. EU regulators believe Temu is not doing enough to protect European consumers from dangerous products and that it may not be acting sufficiently to mitigate risks to users. Evidence showed that there is a high risk for consumers in the EU to encounter illegal products on the platform, the European Commission said in its preliminary finding.
Jasmine is glazing me. It says, "Oh God, gave you natural beauty." I have the product. Yeah, use the product, girl. Or guy. I'm assuming you're a girl, Jasmine. Oh God. You're glazing me. I can't. I'm blushing.
It pointed to a mystery shopping exercise that found consumers were very likely to find non-compliant products among the offer, such as baby toys and small electronics. Temu said only it would continue to cooperate fully with the Commission. Wildly popular in the European Union, despite only having entered the continent's market in 2023, Temu has 93.7 million average monthly active users in the 27-country bloc. The EU said Temu's October 2024 risk assessment was inaccurate and relying on general industry information rather than on specific details about its own marketplace.
Oh my gosh, what is Temu not doing? They're so freaking problematic. They continue being like, yeah guys, we're not doing anything, when they're literally selling illegal products. I mean, Brandy Melville is out to get them. They're like, you're selling our stuff and you're copying our photos. Now stop it, because you're actually like really in control of your business, even though you say you're a marketplace. So like, stop stealing our stuff. Like, you can stop doing this. But they're claiming they're not a marketplace. They're claiming they're doing stuff where they're just like the middleman. They have no control. So I wonder what they're gonna say to the EU, the European Union, and how they're gonna excuse this like quote unquote illegal products. But it's interesting. It's a higher risk for consumers in the EU to encounter illegal products on the platform. I wonder what they mean by high risk for consumers. That's a very interesting statement. Maybe it's like the exposure to chemicals or toxins for like babies with the baby toys. But with like the electronics, I don't really know how that would be a risk. That's so interesting though. I do want to know, who are Temu's lawyers, because they got a job, man. They got big jobs. They got to defend themselves against the entire world. Okay, let's see if there's anything on YouTube. And then it'll be the close of the live stream, basically. Jasmine says, you seem like a pretty good stream to me. Whoa. Now that's a good compliment. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I've been talking for like 13 hours straight. I had an interview today at like 9 in the morning, which is a time I've never been awake for like the last 6 months because I'm notoriously unemployed. But I finally got an interview at a receptionist place at a gym, and they were like, do you want to come in at 9? I'm like, oh god. And I woke up at 6:30, and then I've been yapping ever since because I just be talking about the most random stuff. And then now it's 7 p.m. Central Time, so it's been 13 hours. It's just been on and on and on and on and on. So I appreciate it, even though my throat feels like it's like dying. But yeah, I appreciate it. Purple heart. Oh my god, I love purple. I went to go get some notebooks, and they were all like purple. And I even have like a purple bag. This is a fake artisanal Mexican bag that I bought on 4th of July. But I need plastic bags because I get them all dirty all the freaking time. And with plastic, you can just like wipe it with a Kleenex or like a Clorox wipe, and then it's good. Because I'd be putting peanut butter sandwiches in there, and then it gets all dirty on the inside. But because it's plastic, I can just wipe it off versus like staining the leather or like the inside coating. So yeah, I love purple. Lavender is like my favorite color. Yeah, I got like purple notebooks too. I'm getting my life together. Yeah. Well, let's see. Where were we? Oh, finally, some news bits. EU accuses online giant Temu over sale of illegal products. WION. Is that AI? No, that's AI news.
Now, European Union regulators have found that Temu, which is the Chinese shopping platform, is failing to prevent the sale of illegal products. Investigators have found that a member...
Wait, is this AI? She looks AI, or she's just like beautiful. I can't even tell. Oh gosh. I love purple. Yes! My routine is nice. Thank you. Yapping for 13 hours. Dude, I've been talking about the most random stuff. My family got so tired of me talking that I started live streaming. I would shove these videos up their face. Wait, I can't tell if this is AI or not. This is really concerning. She sounds real, but she doesn't really look real, you know? Maybe it's the makeup?
Number of non-compliant products that include soft toys and electronics listed on the e-commerce site. As the regulators conducted a mystery shopping exercise by investigators which revealed that several non-compliant items were being sold on this platform. The findings have raised questions on the efficacy of Temu's screening methods for products. At the center of the investigation is a risk assessment report that Temu submitted in October last year. The report detailed the company's methods for checking seller stocks for dangerous or banned products. After reviewing the findings, EU regulators are now not convinced. The company will have the chance, however, to examine the Commission's investigation files and respond before the EU regulators before they make the final decision. If confirmed to be in breach, the EU can slap a fine on the platform under the EU's Digital Services Act. A company can be fined up to 6% of its annual turnover worldwide. It can also be coerced to comply with the regulations if it wants to continue doing business in the EU. Temu Note is widely popular in the European Union despite entering the market only in 2023. The company owned by Chinese e-commerce giant now has 92 million users across the bloc.
Interesting. Jasmine says, wait, can I suggest you something? Yes? It's a very ominous question. Sure, you can suggest something. I'm open to improvements. Let's see. Is there any other videos on this before we close out? I do wonder how this is like a risk for like EU customers. That'd be very interesting to learn about. But going on to something else that's been going on with Temu, they've also joined the International Trademark Association to strengthen global IP protections. Sounds very nerdy, but basically they're just protecting themselves a bit more against like counterfeits, which is kind of ironic because they're known to be stealing from others. So it's almost like they expect everyone else to respect them, but like they're gonna continue copying from everyone else. That's what it sounds like. Why didn't this copy and paste? Okay, let's see. Let's see. And then we're gonna head on off. And now is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Kentucky Attorney General is suing Temu. Why? Why is everyone suing Temu? Unlawful data collection. Let's see. It's also called the ITA. Oh my gosh. This is like the nerdiest thing ever. Temu joins ITA. Alright. Nope. It doesn't show anything on YouTube. So let's go to the article and then we're going to close off. This is by PR Newswire and basically explains that they have joined the International Trademark Association as a corporate member and to serve on its anti-counterfeiting committee. Okay. And so the INTA is basically a global association that brings together more than 6,700 organizations. It represents over 3,700 or 37,000 trademark professionals and brand owners across 181 countries. So when you join this, Temu deepens its commitment to rebuilding a trusted online marketplace and advancing global IP protections through broader cross-industry collaboration. Honestly, I feel like they're doing this because of their lawsuit with Brandy Melville. Like, they're literally being told that they're not an online marketplace. And then they go on to be like, yeah, we're doing this to become a trusted online marketplace. It kind of feels like, F you, Brandy Melville, we're actually a marketplace, and look, here's proof. So I think this is part of the Brandy Melville case. I think it is. Okay, let's continue.
INTA welcomes Temu's willingness to engage in anti-counterfeiting initiatives, including in the association's annual anti-counterfeiting workshop and online takedown certificate program, which serve to share best practices and connect stakeholders, said Alistair Gray, Director of Anti-Counterfeiting, INTA. Constructive collaboration with these efforts can contribute to the protection of intellectual property rights for INTA members and support the removal of counterfeit products from the platform, which ultimately protects consumers. At the 2025 INTA annual meeting held in San Diego in May, Temu participated in the Anti-Counterfeiting Committee Roundtable, serving as a moderator to facilitate discussions among brand owners, online platforms, and government officials on emerging technologies, best practices for collaboration, and strategies to strengthen global anti-counterfeiting efforts. Joining INTA and serving on its anti-counterfeiting committee reflects Temu's ongoing commitment to ensuring a trustworthy online shopping experience, said a Temu spokesperson. We value collaboration with industry peers and stakeholders and are dedicated to advancing collective efforts in intellectual property protection.
Very interesting. So they're going to be part of workshops. My voice. To enhance the quality and accuracy of right holders notice. Bro, I don't even know what I'm reading right now. Okay, effective takedown. Blah, 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 blah. So honestly, I feel like they're doing this to protect their butts against more lawsuits saying that they're not a good marketplace. I think it's all very strategic. I do wonder how they even were able to join this, like what they had to do, and like what got them into the anti-counterfeiting committee, because they always be stealing other people's work. So this is like the greatest irony ever. As they get sued for not being a marketplace, and as they get sued for counterfeiting other people's stuff, Temu is so sneaky like that. It's so sneaky. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's like something that we'll continue to see play out within the Brandy Melville lawsuit, honestly. But okay, yeah, to move on, I do want to talk about what's happening with Palestine, and there's recently been some initiatives to boycott Zara in connection with Israel. So let's take a look at this. This is from the Palestinian BDS National Committee, which is the broadest Palestinian coalition leading the global BDS movement, officially endorsing the grassroots organic campaign to boycott Zara. Okay, let's listen, and then that will be the closing out, the official closing out, and then we will go on with our Tuesday. But I appreciate everyone who has jumped on. Thank you.
The Palestinian BDS National Committee, BNC, the broadest Palestinian coalition leading the global BDS movement, officially endorses the grassroots organic campaign to boycott Zara. We call on people of conscience around the world to boycott Zara, the flagship brand of the Spanish multinational Inditex, for its deep and growing complicity in Israel's regime of settler colonialism, apartheid, and genocide. At the start of 2025, amid Israel's ongoing genocidal assault on Palestinians in Gaza, Zara opened its largest ever store in Israel, a 4,500 square meters flagship in the big fashion Glilit complex near Tel Aviv. This expansion deepens Zara's economic ties with Israel, where the brand already operates dozens of stores. It comes at a time when Israel's genocidal regime is carrying out mass killings, forced displacement, and the destruction of Palestinian cultural life with full impunity. Israel's attack on Gaza has, to date, killed an undercount of over 80,000 Palestinians and has obliterated the Strip's healthcare and education systems, devastating its social, cultural, and economic fabric. Deliberately inflicting conditions of life in Gaza calculated to bring about the physical destruction of Palestinians. Zara's complicity with Israel's regime of oppression runs deeper still. In October 2022, Joey Schwebel, chair of Temu Brands, Zara's Israeli franchisee, hosted a campaign event at his home for far-right Israeli Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir. Ben-Gvir, who has openly called for the expulsion of Palestinians, the shooting of civilians, and the denial of humanitarian aid to Gaza, was cited in the International Court of Justice's case, which found that Israel is plausibly committing genocide. Following the event, Ben-Gvir praised Zara, tweeting, "Zara, beautiful clothes, beautiful Israelis." In June 2021, Zara Woman's then-head designer, Vanessa Perelman, launched a racist tirade against Palestinians in Instagram messages to Palestinian model Kahar Harhash. Zara responded with a weak public statement distancing itself from the remarks, but took no meaningful action or accountability. In December 2023, Zara released an offensive ad campaign titled The Jacket, depicting mannequins wrapped in white shrouds next to crumbled statues. Imagery eerily similar to that of shrouded Palestinian bodies seen daily in Israel's live-streamed genocide in Gaza. Following international outrage, Zara removed the ad and issued a hollow apology, stating it regretted the misunderstanding, while doing nothing to address its deep business ties to Israel's apartheid regime. Zara and Inditex have remained silent on Israel's destruction of Gaza's cultural sector and 4,000-year-old cultural heritage. They have said nothing about the killing of Palestinian fashion and textile figures, including Israel's assassination of renowned designer Walla Alafranji, founder of Fashion Room by Walla, along with her husband in Nuseirat refugee camp in December 2024. At the same time, Zara chose Israeli model Sun Mizrahi to front its global campaign in 2024, whitewashing Israel's crimes by glamorizing its image during a genocide. Commenting on Zara's campaign, a spokesperson for Mizrahi said that she is happy to be the Israeli face so identified with our country around the world, especially in such times. Inditex's complicity in human rights violations extends beyond Palestine. The company has been linked to abusive labor conditions in Brazil and to allegations of workers' rights violations in Myanmar, forcing the company to quit the country after a public pressure campaign. These cases form part of a wider pattern of Inditex's failure to uphold basic rights across its global supply chains. as highlighted in a legal analysis by Dr. Irene Pietro-Paley for Samo and Alhaq. Executives of corporations worldwide can be held legally accountable for complicity in Israel's genocide against 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza. The report warns, companies also risk complicity in the Israeli government's violations even just by carrying out their business activities in the country and contributing to the wider economy, for example, and paying taxes to a government that is committing genocide. Silent or tacit complicity, as detailed below, is apparent when a company does not directly contribute to or benefit from the genocide, but is aware of it and fails to distance itself from it, assuming there is still a close link with the situation. For example, a company that carry business in Israel and pay taxes to the Israeli government. Zara and Inditex executives must take heed. Continued operations and partnerships in apartheid Israel may not only cost its business, they may carry legal consequences. Inditex owns Zara, Massimo Dutti, Pull & Bear, Bershka, Oysho, Stradivarius, and Zara Home. While all operate in apartheid Israel, Zara is Inditex's most prominent and strategically marketed brand, and is therefore the primary focus of the strategic BDS boycott campaign. The BDS movement calls on workers, artists, students, trade unions, human rights defenders, and ethical consumers around the world to boycott Zara, and pressure Inditex to end its complicity in Israel's crimes and withdraw its operations from apartheid Israel. Zara has chosen to side with genocide. Boycott Zara until it ends its criminal complicity.
Yes, I will always say it. We need a free Palestine. What's happening over there is horrible. Like, Israel starving them is so unjustified, and it's such a scary time that we're going through watching this all play out. So if you ever need something concrete to do to stand against this violence, please boycott Zara. Boycott Zara. I've never bought from Zara, to be honest. I don't ever remember buying from Zara. So this will not be a hard challenge for me, but if you've ever bought from Zara, please remember that they are part of this horrible, horrible genocide. To the point where they're like saying, Zara, beautiful clothes, beautiful Israelis. That's so nasty. That is so nasty. What's wrong with these people? Oh my gosh. They recently made a video with the help of another like influencer that I really respect. Let's see if I can find it. And what's her name? I don't remember her name. Let's see. I'm not logged in. I am not logged in. Let me see what TikToks they've made about this. I think I've seen one that's on their channel. Let's see.
How many innocent Palestinian civilians, men, women and children, does Israel have to slaughter? How many war crimes does Israel have?
These were the mannequins they were referring to within the article, which I saw and I was so horrified by. Whoever thought this was a good idea?
Have to commit? How much death and destruction does Israel?
This is not a call to throw out your existing Zara clothes. Zara's oversupply is contributing to the global textile waste crisis, causing a humanitarian disaster for frontline communities.
We'll have to visit on the people of Gaza and Palestine.
This calls to boycott Zara at a time when Israel is possibly committing genocide against 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza. Zara has chosen to fashion wash genocide and apartheid. The fast fashion outlet is also devastating the planet. Boycott Zara until it ends its criminal complicity. Oh, the times that we're living in. Please, please boycott Zara if you can. And you can always make videos on it too. You can talk to your friends about it, your family about it. Anyone will listen if you force them to. No, I'm kidding, but
How
not
many
kidding.
innocent
I would highly recommend
Palestinian civilians?
I would highly recommend you talk to anyone you can about this and like just support Palestine. It's so horrendous how the genocide is playing out. I really feel for innocent families that are suffering right now. Jasmine says your streaming skills. Oh, okay. Change the topic. Says your streaming skills. Wait, I want to go back to this. ADHD moment. Okay. Free Palestine. Boycott Zara. Fuck Israel. Stop the genocide. It's enough is enough. Like, we don't need this to continue to play out. It's just, it really aches my heart to like see this continue to play out. It's a televised genocide. And I do not support what's going on. It's just horrendous. It's so horrendous. Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna close out the live stream, but before I move out, someone was giving me feedback. Love the feedback! Says, Jasmine, your streaming skills is cool, but I suggest you post some graphic stuff on your channel. What do you think? You donated 10K for Palestine. Oh, cool. Jasmine, I love the feedback. You do not know how to do the graphics, though. I don't know how to do the graphics. I'm a beginner. But yeah, I will definitely look into it. I actually have Twitch for Dummies. That's what I'm looking for. It's like a book that shows me how to do stuff for Twitch and like for YouTube live streaming. It's somewhere. I can't see it. Where is it? It's over here. Yeah, it's right here. Oh, good. I'm working on it. It's from the library. I didn't want to buy it. You're an artist. Do you work for streamers and gamers for their stuff? Like logo banners? Oh, cool. Yeah. Send me your stuff, Jasmine. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm just starting out. So if any skilled work would be very much appreciated, and I will look into it for sure. But I'm going to close out and feel free to send me. Can you just send it in the chat right now? And then I'll get back to you about it. My Discord is not fully set up. I started it last week, but it's not set up, so. It's in my description, though. You can find my Discord, but most likely will not look at it. I was going to finish it this week, so. Yeah, you can use my Instagram, so it's Elmaganya Mireles. I can type it in the chat. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Just message me there and I'll look at your stuff, yeah. I'm barely like starting off. I've mostly been live streaming to my friends and family. So any tech skills you got or any like graphics, logos, very much appreciated. But yeah, thank you everyone for jumping on. I really do appreciate it. I will be back on Thursday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time. Until next time, see you later. Bye.